Welcome to Headingley, where unfortunately that is a picture that tells you 1,000 words. We've had a great summer so far weather-wise, but right here, right now, the picture looks a little bleak ahead of the start of Yorkshire's Women's Vitality Blast League 2 campaigner against Derbyshire. I'm Michael McCann, delighted to say, though, that I do have alongside me for the duration of this one, Amy Campbell. Against this very opposition this season, You made 165 not out in T20 cricket, in 50-over cricket.
One day, yeah.
You made 41 not out in the T20s, and then today, due to an unfortunate little lower back issue, you're stuck up here with us in the commentary box. So we wouldn't blame you if this is comfortably your least enjoyable experience of Yorkshire playing Derbyshire this season.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it this morning, actually. I had... we've got quite a few injuries a lot of them are freak accidents as well. It's not due to load or bad management or anything like that. We're struggling with a few freak accidents and, injuries during play, but mine was in the gym back squatting, so that's pretty annoying. It was preventable. But yeah, pretty disappointing, but, I've got big faith in the girls going and doing the job today. But yeah, unfortunately, we are met with grey cloud. It looks pretty dark, Headingley, doesn't it, when the rain's pouring in?
It does look pretty grim. Just quickly on you, Amy, you think that for the double header should be okay?
Yeah, fingers crossed. It just happened a little bit too close to the game. Struggling with twisting movements at the minute. Actually sitting here is quite uncomfortable, so I might have to move around a bit today.
If you see on commentary camera at some point today, there's yours truly just sat down, and then Amy Campbell in the background commentating while there's sort of yoga going on.
Yes.
And viewers at home, you know what's going on here.
If I start just doing some pelvic tilts, I'm not doing anything strange. But fingers crossed I'm back for that. We just need to be careful with back injuries. I wouldn't trust my back to be swinging a bat just yet, but it's definitely better than what it was 4 days ago. So hopefully, at this age, you don't heal as quick as what I used to. And so, I just need to take my time with it, especially at the start of the campaign, and just be sensible with it.
And Amy's alluding there to a series of unavailabilities for those of you that haven't kept up. It's unfortunately been a little bit of a run of injuries for this Yorkshire side. So Olivia Thomas is out for a week or so with a foot issue. Beth Langston pulled up with something of an injury at the back end of the Warwickshire Women's T20 County Cup quarter-final a little while back. There's Grace Hall, who's got a problem as well, but looks like it might keep her out for a little bit longer as a period of time. And Stair Callis is, of course, playing for Warwickshire as part of her loan agreement. Lauren Winfield-Hill is playing for Essex for the duration of the Blast, which gives her an opportunity to play Tier 1 cricket. Of course, Tier 1 is where Yorkshire will be next season. But there is another side to this situation, which is that Maddie Ward, with Rachel Slater still out with that fractured wrist, and Lauren Winfield-Hill away with Essex, it means that Maddie Ward, one of the two vice-captains under Winfield-Hill, Slater is the other one, will get the chance to lead Yorkshire today. And that is a moment of history for Yorkshire County Cricket Club, because we've scoured the books of this great institution going back to 1863, and we make it that Maddie Hill, assuming hopefully we do get on the park at some point today, will be the youngest captain to lead the Yorkshire men's or women's team in a senior competitive game. She was born on the 19th of January 2005. The previous youngest was Azim Rafiq, who on the 22nd of June 2012, aged 21 years and 4 months, led Yorkshire to victory against Durham. Alex Lees remains Yorkshire's youngest permanent captain at 22 years old. Back in 2016, he became the T20 and the 50-over captain. Of course, Ward has not been named permanent captain, but she has been thrust into a leadership position. We've had a nice little chat with Maddie that we'll be showing you a little bit later on. But as Yorkshire embark on the Vitality Blast T20 campaign, of course, unlike the men, Yorkshire have already completed one T20 campaign, which was the newly created Women's T20 County Cup, where they saw of Staffordshire and Derbyshire, who of course Yorkshire play today, much height from that Essex game.
Yeah, hardly a cloud in the sky above Headingley today, so yeah, this should be an absolute blockbuster in round 3.
Smell bowling with deep mid-wicket and a long on, trying to protect those short boundaries, but smashed by Winfield-Hill through mid-off for 4. Lovely way to get off the mark and a lovely way to hit Yorkshire's first boundary of the game. Winfield Hill this time with beautiful cover. Whipped away. Nice shot through mid-wicket. This is going to take a big chase for Gardner, who's one of the best boundary riders in the domestic game, and shows it there again with a very neat bit of work to keep it to 2. Thomas has got herself in a muddle and is gone. Erin Thomas is out LBW, trying to pull, missing out. And Thomas has to go for just 3, 15 for 1. That's a whacked away over mid-on, and like the previous free hit, it goes in that region of the ground for 4. So Yorkshire making the most of this over, which is becoming very expensive indeed. So what Essex do this season before, if they get to a final, watch out. There's Gray again. That's a little slow ball. Has it got a nick? It has. Cleverly bowled by Eva Gray. Essex's leading wicket taker this season comes up trumps again. They're just helping them work through it. As Duckworth's gone, another wicket. Wickets in back-to-back overs for Essex. This time it's Esme McGregor. She's great to see. Hard to pick, but that is an inside-out shot through the covers, one of Callis's strong areas. Now stays with the leggy, and this is swept very fine from Callis, and this might go to the boundary as well. It does. So back-to-back boundaries for the Dutch international. Around to the lefty. This is whipped away. This is one of those games within a game of, do they try and push 2 with something like that? They won't get it there because it was solid work from Gray. And Cara's keeper will have to adjust. Campbell smacked this one away. Catching chance on the rope and taken. Big wicket for Essex. Amy Campbell is finally out, having scored 276 runs across 5 innings. Helped continue the loss of wickets for Yorkshire. But that time Gardner is being worked away. That's a delightful square drive. Again, she's looking in that region, and it's escaped through. It's a quick outfield, and it will go for 4. So back-to-back square drives for 4 from Stair Callis.
Most definitely, it's the way of going about it in T20 cricket. It's Maksud, then this one slightly shorter, carved away, beats the dive of the fielder. It's a rapid outfield here in Leeds today, and you can see sprints out towards the fence, goes against the rope for 4 more runs, and Yorkshire inching ever closer to bringing up the 100 here.
Lovely stuff.
She's coming over the wicket this time from the Kirkstall Lane end, and that is a delightful sweep shot from Stair Callis. Meets it on the full, whips it away for 4 more runs. Well, let's see what Scrivens can concoct, trying to spoil the party here for the Dutch international. Scrivens then to Callis. Callis advances down the track, works it out onto the onside. They think about coming back for a second. There's no need to, and that brings up a thoroughly deserved half-century for Stair Callis. Comes off of just 31 deliveries, includes 9 boundaries, and this was exactly the kind of knock that Yorkshire needed at this stage of the innings. The home side going along with a decent tick here, 125 for 4.
Vice captain, a lot of pressure on young shoulders. Well, that's away on the reverse, and that's a little bit of a Maddie Ward trademark. It's a shot I saw her playing in the nets quite a few times in pre-match. And
well, this time it's Callis, and that is another fine shot from Stair Callis. On the money here today. How can McGregor respond? Well, that is aerial from Callis. Shouts of catch. It won't be caught. It goes over the top of the fielder all the way for 6. Stair Callis is putting on a show here at Headingley.
From our end, the pavilion end. And gets funky, goes on the reverse, and that goes past short third for 4 more. Well, the runs are flying along here for Yorkshire. Partnership currently worth 94 off 59. And that's well hit as well, and that will go for 4 too. My goodness me. Ward goes past the score that she made on Thursday. It is a Yorkshire high score for Maddie Ward. Just powered away for 4 more. Let's flick that away, and that will go for 4 as well. Well, there was a short fine leg, but nothing that Callis was going to do to give them the chance to influence things. Last ball of the innings from Gray. And that is going to go for 4 as well, down to that short third boundary. So intelligent from Stair Callis. Her 7. This time Scrivens comes down the track, hits that very hard, and that's a magnificent caught and bowled by Claudie Cooper. My goodness me, that is outrageous. An incredible catch. How has she held on to that? That is absolutely outrageous. And Grace Scrivens, arguably the key wicket in this Essex batting lineup, has to go.
Just the 1 run taken on that occasion, and that will be crucial for Essex in this innings. They've got to rotate the strike well. It's something which Callis and Ward did exceptionally in that 113 run partnership, and there's another wicket here, this time for Maddie Ward, and it's Eva Gray who has to depart. Yorkshire well on top here at Headingley. Essex 18 for 2. Plenty of people out there today, but they're absolutely loving the weather here in Leeds. It is a stunning day in the north of England, and that is another hefty shot down the ground from Lizzie McLeod. Think about coming back for a second. Could be a chance here of a run out, and given! There's the breakthrough that Yorkshire are after. And let's be honest, it was one which was coming. We've seen quite a bit of indecision between the two Essex batters throughout this partnership, a partnership which is broken on 63.
With a lot of the girls that Yorkshire have got, it's all a little bit new to them, which makes it all the more exciting. And I think it makes them want it that little bit more as well, really.
Oh, it should do, shouldn't it? And this is a good competition. It's a great way to potentially get some silverware in this first season. That one is short and slashed straight to the fielder at points. Amelia Love gets a well-deserved wicket, and it's the big fish of McLeod who departs for an outstanding 63. Essex 105 for 4. Is that the big moment in this run chase? Something for Winfield Hill and Cooper to just be aware of here.
Yeah, but I think
Blinkhorn Jones this time attempts to go down the ground only as far as Stair Callis, who just 2 deliveries before was wringing the wrist in pain. Thankfully, no damage done, but that is some pretty major damage done here for Essex. 116 for 5. Maddie Blinkhorn Jones, the latest of the visitors to depart quite cleanly. It was just a little bit unfortunate that for the Yorkshire youngster.
Gone. A much-needed wicket for Yorkshire. And Olivia Thomas, who had taken some tap earlier on in the over, like any good leg spinner, keeps persevering and gets something to show for it. So
but yeah, it's been really
Gardner makes room and smashes it away into the deep. And it's caught on the juggle by Rhea Thackrell. And surely with that, it should be the catch that secures Yorkshire's spot in the quarter-final. 24 of 21, the third best scorer. As that's the final ball of the game. It does go for 4, but it's inconsequential for Yorkshire. It's a legitimate delivery. That's all that Beth Langston needed. And Yorkshire have done it. They've won by 11 runs against Tier 1 Essex in round 3 of the newly created Women's T20 County Cup. Something of an upset, you might call it. Something of a chance for Yorkshire to prove their point, you might call it. What is for certain is Yorkshire are into the last 8, and they will play the winner of the game between the Birmingham Bears and Devon in the West Country. That happens tomorrow. Yorkshire's cup run continues. A 3rd straight win in this newly created competition sees the White Rose at Headingley in the sunshine through to the last 8. So that was looking back at the Essex game, which was one to remember for Yorkshire supporters. Amy, a bit of a chance that day. Was there a sense of proving a point with everything that's gone on facing a Tier 1 team?
Yeah, I think we've spoken about it a lot. Obviously, with our preparations, we've been looking, to make sure we're as, physically and mentally robust to go into that Tier 1 division next year. So, just putting a performance out like that was great for us. It was great for our confidence. And it just shows what we can really do when we're at our best. I think obviously we had Stair getting a big score that day. But just to think that there was a few low scores from the top order, so just to think, if we can put all that together and we can chip in 20s either side of someone on a big score, and like the score would have been even bigger. So yeah, it just shows what we can do if we're all at our best going to do one.
And of course, one of the big architects of that day was a certain Maddie Ward, who we've been already talking about today. 43 not out off 30 here against Essex. That epic partnership you've just seen of 113 off 66 balls alongside Stair Callis. And it is a historic day for Maddie, with her taking the Yorkshire captaincy in this game against Derbyshire. If you're tuning in a little late, wondering why you're watching us and not cricket, there is quite a lot of rain around. Mercifully, it does seem to have got a fair bit lighter during the last 15 minutes, but we still haven't had an official coin toss. That's been delayed by a minimum of half an hour, so we still don't have official teams, but we understand the Yorkshire team is likely to be Georgie Boyce, Erin Thomas, Rebecca Duckworth, Ward, of course, Ria Thackrell back in the side after a few games where she hasn't been in, Amelia Oliver, Claudie Cooper, Amelia Love, Ellie Nightingale, Jessica Woolston, so welcome return for her, and Holly Garton, the leg spinner. So Garton, the leggy, is on debut. Amelia Oliver, the batter, is on debut. Georgie Boyce, on loan from Blaze, is also on debut. It's just Ellie Nightingale's second senior competitive game in a Yorkshire shirt. So plenty going on. Let's hear from one of the players who'll be a key focus of the day, Yorkshire's 20-year-old youngest ever captain in a senior competitive game. Earlier on, when the sun was out a little bit more and the rain wasn't around, I had a chat to Maddie Ward.
So, Maddie Ward, since Yorkshire were formed in 1863, you are, as of today, the youngest Yorkshire captain in a men's or women's professional game. 20 years and 4 months. How proud does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive honour for me to do that. It's something that I didn't necessarily expect to be doing, but no, I'm really looking forward to getting going today.
And you did it for a couple of times in pre-season. How was that experience?
It was something different, probably a big challenge, obviously a group that had never really played together before, but no, really enjoyed it and definitely excited to get going today.
And do you think you're still kind of working out what type of a leader you are? How instinctively do you think you want to put your stamp on the group?
Yeah, I think obviously having Loz as the club captain, I've learnt loads from her, so I think just making it my own sort of thing, not doing exactly what Loz does, but I definitely have learnt loads from her and hopefully can put it into practice today.
And you got a 12-player squad today, of which 6 are teenagers, so does a bit of you almost feel like you're babysitting?
Not exactly, some of them are only a couple of years younger than me, but it's an exciting group. We've got a lot of talent coming through, so it's nice for them to be able to showcase that today. They're all more than good enough to play at the standard, so hopefully we'll get a win on the board.
And 6 rookies went on tour in Abu Dhabi, and it's the core of them that make up the younger players coming through with the absence of various senior players for various reasons. It's a great stage for them, this, isn't it? Headingley and a start of a blast campaign.
Yeah, obviously not ideal, a few injuries to the senior players, but gives us a chance to step up, like of Erin and Claudie and myself included, so it'd be nice for us to show what we can do and take some responsibility of what we're doing.
And a couple of wins already against Derbyshire, one in the 50-over format, one in the T20 format, but a very different game today, and as we've alluded to, it'll be a very different team sheet for Yorkshire, so I assume it's not one that you're in any way taking lightly. Yeah,
definitely a different team. Probably half the team's completely different to the one that last played Derbyshire. We've just got to can't be complacent, we've got to stay humble, go again, take every game as it comes. Obviously we are confident going into it, but just about staying level, I think.
And you've been excellent with the ball this season, 9 wickets across all competitions, but you're back with the gloves, so looking forward to that change of role? I
am definitely looking forward to it. Obviously that's my main skill. I'm quite nervous, to be fair, because I've actually done much this year, but definitely looking forward to having the gloves, yeah.
And just finally, Georgie Boyce on loan will definitely make her debut from Blaze, has a lot of experience at the top level of domestic and regional cricket, and for a 26-year-old has played a lot of top level cricket, so particularly given that availability crisis we've somewhat alluded to, what a player to bring into your squad. You must be pretty excited to have her. Yeah, great to have Georgie here. As you said, she comes with lots of experience. She'll be one of the older heads today, so someone that I can probably call upon if I need a bit of advice. Yeah, she's a great player, so we'll definitely strengthen our batting side today. And you've talked about the fact that, you know, you've always had a soft spot for Yorkshire, even with your Nottinghamshire roots, and the fact that you know, of course, when it comes to your sporting allegiances, a lot of them are in Yorkshire as well. Like, what would you have thought if you, as a very small, kind of knee-high to grasshopper Maddie Ward, were told that, having only recently stopped being a teenager, you'd be captaining a Yorkshire side at Headingley?
Probably wouldn't have believed you, to be honest, but no, I'm taking everything as it comes. Yeah, just enjoying it really. Like hoping to get a win today and show what I can do as captain. But no, definitely would have been surprised if you said that to me.
Congrats on the achievement and good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Play is currently delayed due to weather. In cricket, wet conditions can significantly impact the game and player safety. Rain can affect the ball, pitch and outfield. A wet ball is harder to grip for players, creating unsafe conditions for bowling and fielding. The pitch can become unpredictable, therefore putting our batters at risk. A damp outfield slows the ball down and increases the risk of injuries from slips and slides. For play to resume, the rain must stop, and our amazing ground staff need time to dry the field using covers, super suppers and rollers. That's why we can't get back to action the moment the rain clears. We'll keep you updated as we await further decisions from the umpires.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
Well, I'm delighted to say that as you look at Headingley there, it's that English cricket cliche, 4 seasons in a day. The sun is just starting to re-poke its way through, and suddenly it all seems very different. The toss is set to happen in 6 minutes or so the toss has been delayed by 35 minutes, and the umpires are looking at the 2:50 p.m. start, so 20 minutes later than scheduled. And the good news is, because there is a certain amount of built-in delay time, we would not lose any overs. So suddenly things are looking a fair bit brighter in the camp.
Yeah, it's literally just started to gleam down there a little bit. It looks completely different than it did 10 minutes ago, which is just typical. Yeah, it's looking a bit more promising now, which is exciting because I can't wait to watch this game.
And just as we said, almost as if to prove the point, now the sun is out gloriously to the point where if you just rocked up to the ground, you'd been at home with the curtains closed, you'd be looking at the ground staff peeling those covers off covered in rain, thinking, what on earth are they doing? But for a good 20 minutes or so, it did rain pretty heavily. I was down there chatting to them earlier on, and essentially expressing my sympathy with them on days like this, because it's a testing job at the best of times, but particularly when all of this is going on, and it means that we are just around exactly 20 minutes or so from having live cricket to show you here. One player who we picked out as our key player, I'm surprised you was a choice given what we talked about in the build-up so far, is certain Maddie Ward, who is a 20 years old and 4 months old, becomes the youngest ever captain of a Yorkshire senior side in a competitive game. She did captain a couple of times in pre-season. She was part of that England under-19 squad that in the first ever T20 World Cup for that age group were runners-up back in 2023. And she took 9 wickets with her off spin. But as you saw in that interview, she was very keen to say with a big smile on her face that she was delighted to be back keeping wicket today, which is her preference of the two. But she's an exciting young player, isn't she, Amy? She can do a bit of everything, and she's got, as that interview showed for those who haven't heard from her before, she's got a real character and a spirit about her.
Yeah, Maddie is a lovely, lovely person. She's really, really funny, and she's very much been here, and everyone sort of we started joking around a little bit, and then it came out of the hand, and she actually took more. We were doing like a practice game indoors, and she took the most wickets, and we were like, oh, we're onto something here. And I think, yeah, she does prefer keeping, but she's been really, really useful with the ball. Unfortunately, she obviously split the webbing in her hand last week or the week before, so that's healing at the minute. But yeah, she's been unbelievable with the ball in hand as well, and it just shows the talent that she's got. And she's a very, very useful player. Really, really good for T20. She's, as you can see on the video there, she can hit all areas of the ground, and she loves her sweep, she loves her paddles and her ramps, just typical keeper really. But just all around really, really good person, a lot of talent there, and hopefully she's got the belief to just go out there and keep showcasing it.
And she captained a couple of games in pre-season, didn't she, that you were part of out in Abu Dhabi. What was she like in those matches as a leader, still working her way into what it means at 20 to be captaining a senior team? Yeah,
so obviously, she's got a lot to learn. She's a young player, but she was collaborating with Lauren quite a bit. She's willing to learn, and she's very, very switched on. And yeah, it's like from that sort of keeper stance when she was keeping in those games, it's almost like she had a clear view of the pitch, and she kind of knew what she was doing straight away. And she was learning from some poorer decisions, and then she was taking on board the good things that did work and the things that worked for Lauren when she was captain. So yeah, she's just absorbing everything at the minute. And yeah, I think I asked her if she was staying level. We have this joke in the changing room where we're like, "Oh, are you feeling level? Are you staying level?" And yeah, she said yeah, she said she's a 2 out of 10 for nervousness and 8 out of 10 for excitement. So that's good going in today. I just wanted to enjoy it and see it as sort of a learning process. There's not a lot of pressure on her right now because it is new. It's a new venture for her, and she is young. But yeah.
You captured her body language perfectly, because when I strolled over to her on the outfield just to have a chat with her, she had the biggest smile on her face. It really was sort of a picture of excitement, and that's exactly what you want someone to be on a day like this. And she is also making history. Yorkshire County Cricket Club has a long and distinguished history going right the way back to 1863, and there was a great moment where I hadn't mentioned to her that was something that I was aware of. She clearly wasn't, because I said it to her in that interview, and our viewers would have seen the reaction about 20 minutes or so ago when we played it out. There was a proper sense like, oh, well, yeah. And it was like, yep, it's you. The youngest ever player to captain Yorkshire in a senior competitive fixture. And she will, of course, get the chance to do it, thankfully, because the weather is playing ball, and the clouds have just come in a little more, but there's no sign of rain. So we're looking at a toss coming eminently soon. A little bit of team news from the men. Of course, is one Rose, one Club, one Yorkshire. The men are playing away at Worcester today in the North Group. They lost by 13 runs in their first game, which was on Friday night here, a high-scoring run fest against Northamptonshire Steelbacks. And Yorkshire have won the toss and chosen to bowl at Worcester. Brett D'Oliveira and Ed Pollock are out there. Yorkshire's playing 11, Adam Lyve, David Milan, skippering, of course, Will Luxton, James Wharton, Harry Duke, Will Sutherland, Matt Revis, Don Bess, Jaffa Chan, Will O'Rourke and Dan Moriarty. Moriarty is the one player to come in on that side that played on Friday night. He's in for Matt Milne, so swapping a seamer for spinner. Players are back out on the field here and warming up, which is lovely to see. And hopefully we're not too far away from having some live cricket to bring you here. But while we're waiting, we've got the perfect person to reminisce about Yorkshire versus Derbyshire recently, because a certain Amy Campbell made 165 not out when these sides met in 50 over cricket. And I interviewed you just after that at Harrogate a couple of days later, and you were joking when you found out that you'd fallen 12 short of the highest score by a women's list A player, that you'll have to beat it next time. But just talk us through that innings and also the process of the pre-match advice you got that led to it?
Oh, usually on the days that you score a run, you're not thinking of anything before you go into bat. I kind of know the mindset. I kind of can predict when I'm going to score runs and when I don't. I don't know if this is common for batters, or you just feel calmer on the day. You're not thinking of anything. I'm quite quiet when it comes to a game day anyway. All the girls will be laughing and joking. I'll be hiding somewhere, just trying to stay focused. And yeah, that's what happened on that day. Obviously, we had a bit of a collapse. And yeah, I kind of just thought, I had a bit of advice from Courtney, didn't I, my partner, and I said, what do you think I should do then? Because I hadn't scored runs for a couple of games or in the pre-season coming up. And she basically just said, typical health and safety consultant. She just said, why don't you just try and play it safe today, Amy? Bearing in mind, she doesn't know anything about cricket, which is brilliant for me. And I said, yeah, all right then. So, I just nudged a few ones, just set off pretty calm. And then, yeah, just hit the bad ball. And the bad balls went pretty nicely. And then, yeah, just started to build on that. And once you get to 50, it just feels so easy. And you're just like, all right, keep going here. Get to 16, 17, you're like, all right, 100's looking all right. And then once you get your 100, you're like, right, full swing here, let's go. Nothing to lose, and we're in a good position by that point. And, it was just one of those days where it came off. It was a really, really special day. And, and when it comes to the thought process, there wasn't much really in terms of play it safe, stay calm, and, back yourself to play those shots and, hit the bad balls. But yeah, I got lucky a few times as well, and I feel like a lot of people score 100, they do get lucky a few times, and I tend to be the most unluckiest person on the planet, so I had a bit of luck that day, which is good. We had a few drops, and yeah, and that's, I almost came off the pitch, didn't I? And I said, well, I don't think it counts because I was dropped a couple of times, but then you still have to score them, you still have to do the job and stay in. So yeah, I'm proud of myself for that.
Speaking of luck, Yorkshire will hope to have some luck at the coin toss, which Maddie Ward, Yorkshire's 20-year-old captain, has just completed. And Ward has, in fact, lost the toss, which is not the way you want to start being captain. But Derbyshire have decided they're going to have a bat. So Yorkshire will be bowling first here. Hopefully we don't get more rain and more delays. Right now, it is still a T20 game, which is good to see. As far as I understand it, once we've had an hour of delays, we do start to lose those overs. But we were scheduled to only start 9 minutes ago, so we've got a bit of a way to go until we get to that point. Right now, we've got scheduled start coming at 3 p.m, so 20 minutes or so away. I mentioned earlier on that the men are in action live now against Worcestershire, who are 25 without loss after 2.4 overs. Men also had that extraordinary game on Friday night here, where Northamptonshire Steelbacks posted 237 for 4, and Yorkshire almost chased it, falling 13 runs short. As for the women, we have got some confirmed team news for you now that the toss has taken place. For Derbyshire, Jess Kuja, Laura Shaw, Megan Pattinson, Tara Allen, Rhiannon Nolan Davies, Jenna Darby, Francesca Clark, Harriet Parkin, Gemma Rose, who took a 4-for against Yorkshire earlier this season, was very unlucky to not take a 5-for in that game. Amy Campbell hit the 165, not out that we were talking about. And then Caitlin McDonald and Paige Hardwick round off the Derbyshire 11. As for Yorkshire, it is, as we had discussed and expected, Erin Thomas, Georgie Boyce, Amelia Oliver, Maddie Ward, Rebecca Duckworth, Ellie Nightingale, Ria Thackrell, Claudie Cooper, Jess Woolston, Holly Garton, Amelia Love, and Lucy Randall Bissell is the 12th. So there is a lot of changes from Yorkshire's last game. Georgie Boyce comes in and makes her debut on loan from the Blaze, who she was last playing for on Monday. Was commentating on that in the Women's T20 County Cup final day that Yorkshire almost reached, but didn't quite with that quarter-final defeat to the Bears. Ward, of course, 20-year-old skipper. Amelia Oliver, once of the Diamonds Academy, is in for her debut. It's a debut for Holly Garton, leg spinner, who in pre-season got Sophia Dunkley out in one game. And then Amelia Love is one of the young'uns as well at 16, but has already actually made 6 appearances so far this season. So it's a very young side. Ria Thackrell will bring a bit of experience. She's back into it. I make it that Thackrell at 25, Boyce at 26 years old, and Duckworth at 24 are the only 3 players in the 12 there, the 11 plus Randall Bissell as 12, that are older than 22. So it's fair to say Amy Campbell alongside me, just a tickle older than that. If you or Lauren Winfield Hill or Beth Langston were playing in this team, you're sort of positively picking up your old age pensioner card. It's a really young side, isn't it?
I was going to say, what does that tell you? It means we're getting old, and we're picking up injuries. No, do you know what? The way these girls played in the pre-season tour, I have no qualms with and how they're going to go about this. They played absolutely amazingly. They exceeded all expectation on tour, to be honest, and their confidence built rapidly, especially with Amelia Love. She's one of the more quieter ones and shy ones, and she really came out of her shell, and obviously she's one of our main players now at 16, which is absolutely incredible. I'm really excited to see how they go about their business today as a younger squad. I just want them to go out there and enjoy it, to be honest. Hopefully they're not feeling too many nerves and they just, pull together as a team and crack on.
Yeah, it's funny talking about that pre-season tour because, in the words of Richard Pryor, he said, someone like a Holly Garton, and I guess you were there, so you'd have seen this, she was just following Lauren around for the first 2 days.
Yeah, Lauren absolutely loved Gart. Do you know what? She's one of those characters. She doesn't have to say anything. You walk past her and you have a bit of a giggle. She's just one of those. I can't even describe her. She's just such a great girl for her age. She's got a really old head on her, but also incredibly funny. And you know what? She's bloody talented. When I was watching her ball, I was like, she's going to be in our first team. She's an incredible talent. Obviously, you'll see that today. Hopefully, she can put on a good show for us, and we back her with the ball. Serious leg spinner, and a great talent. So I'm glad she's getting an opportunity today.
And I know she got, as mentioned, Sophia Dunkley out-stumped in that pre-season game against Surrey. Not seen as a huge turn of the ball, but a skiddy and an accurate leg spinner. And the words cheeky exuberance were a couple that I had in my notes on speaking to people about her, and it sounds like you're very much echoing that. Yeah,
she is. She's just got like a cheeky little smirk on her face, but she doesn't say a lot. But I don't know, maybe at school she's a bit of trouble, who knows, I don't know. But she's a very, very good player, and I think there was a drop that she caught on tour, and she didn't get emotional about it. I think just 3 overs later, she just went to Laurie. She was like, I'm absolutely fuming about that drop catch. Yeah. And, if I was that age, I'd probably crying playing for And she just kind of took the mick out of herself a little bit. And that's what you want, isn't it, from the young ones? Not putting too much pressure on yourself. Yes, they're disappointed, but also, they can laugh about it in a few overs. It's not rolling into their game. So, yeah, she's a great character to have in the team.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because the other thing that a couple of people from the Canberra told me was just after she got Sophia Dunkley out, she basically essentially ran over to the Yorkshire dugout where everyone who wasn't playing was, and there's the 12 Freddie with the energy drinks, the management, and she turned to Lauren, but fully aware that 8 and 10 people were in earshot, and just said something along the lines of, "You know what, Lauren? I'm well happy with myself." And it's just that sort of embracing that moment and that classic fearless youngster. And speaking of youngsters, because there's no shortage of them, it's just a second game for Ellie Nightingale. Made her debut against Leicestershire at York and got 17 not out off 12. And then Amelia Love, who of all of those pre-season rookies has broken through the most, 4th and 39 on debut against Worcestershire here. What have those two been like around the group?
So who we're talking about there? Amelia Love and
Ellie Nightingale.
Ellie Nightingale. I've only played with Ellie twice, and she's such a sound girl. I've heard she's really, really talented with the bat, and obviously I got to bat with her a little bit at York, didn't I? Towards the end of the game, and she was a great little partner to go with. She just, she knew exactly what she was doing, and I've heard she's a really, really up and coming talented player. So it'll be good to see her playing today. But she just slotted right in with the group for a young one. And also Amelia Love, as I said, she's a little bit quieter, a little bit more reserved. And yeah, as I say, like the difference in the way she's been from start to where she is now is just crazy, and it's just credit to the environment here at Yorkshire, allowing people to be who they are and blossom in their own sort of way. Like no judgment. We want to keep the environment open to all different types of people, and yeah, she seems to be slotting in just fine and loving it.
And then a welcome return for Jess Woolston,
Yes.
who has been kind of a slightly invisible figure in the first part of the season in terms of on the pitch. Skillful, new ball, fast bowler with a great in-swinger. She's become a professional cricketer over the winter for the first time, a maiden professional deal, having impressed at the Diamonds at the back end of that regional era. There was 5:37 against the Stars at Scarborough that a lot of people remembered as a great example. But for those unfamiliar, she had a big injury this winter. She had a screw put in her foot after a freak incident. And that stress fracture has kept her out for the first half of this season. So ironic that it comes at a time where it seems like there's so many other injury issues elsewhere all happening at once. But Jess Woolston is a welcome bit of positivity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's been through quite a lot in the past couple of months. It's never easy getting an injury, but an injury as big as that, and a scary one as well, because we didn't know how that foot was going to heal. And as a fast bowler, that's in your first year of getting a contract, obviously there was a psychological aspect to that as well, and she's just done so well to keep herself together. And she's been really going about her rehab in a really professional way, and trying to keep herself as level as possible. And here she is. I'm just watching her warm up there to bowl, which is just so great to see, because I feel like we've been along the roller coaster with her, and she's just such a talented player. So yeah, it's kind of perfect timing really for her to come in now and play a pivotal role really in a team where we have a bit less experience up the top end. She'll be a really good head to have on the pitch today. I know she's a little bit younger, but she is definitely got an older head on her, and she's very experienced. So I'm glad we've got her out there to help today.
Yeah, wonderful Woolly, as she's nicknamed as well.
Yeah.
Born on Teesside, but she described herself as a bit of an honorary Yorkshire woman, in the sense that she's a graduate of Leeds Beckett University, a degree in sports coaching as well. I know there's quite a few people, even in the old Diamond setup, that talk to me about her as seeing someone that inevitably, once playing is done, will end up as a coach in some capacity or another. Has got that sort of coaching brain, and just looking through that team as well. It's a debut for Amelia Oliver, 17-year-old who was in the Northern Diamonds Academy, plays a women's cricket at Harrogate. And then it's a welcome return to the side for the first time in a little while for Ria Thackrell, who's had to bide her time. When she's had her chances, she's played well. 2 for 5 off 2 overs against Derbyshire in round 1 of the Cup. None for 4 off 2 overs at Sussex in just the second game of the season. But it's been a little while since she's been in the 11. And in the context of this team, at 25 years old, and with all the regional experience she has from her time with Sparks, and then her county cricket experience previously with Warwickshire, and it's something she actually talked about in pre-season. She's something of a senior player, but then in this 11 she's even more of a senior player.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping she comes into her own a little bit today and just enjoys herself, because I know it's really hard being on the sidelines. I mean, I had that last season, and yeah, you struggle to feel a part of the team, and psychologically it is quite difficult. So I'm hoping today she just doesn't put too much pressure on herself, and she just plays a natural game. She's a very, very talented player, and she's capable of a lot and being a solid part of this squad. It's just unfortunate that we had, well, I say unfortunate, it's not really, but we had young ones coming through who were taking more wickets or scoring more runs, and I guess it's good that we have that sort of competitiveness against players. But yeah, it is heartbreaking sometimes, especially coming into Division 2, where you feel like you're probably going to get a game and get a go every time. So yeah, it was a hard knot to take, but she's a resilient person, and here she is today, and as one of the senior players. So you just got to, take it and run with it while you can.
Yeah, it's professional sport, isn't it? It can be brutal. And at the start of the season, you'd have got long odds on a period of time where Ria Thakral was available but not playing. And I guess it's one of those where balance aside, Maddie Ward's spin is sort of unexpectedly discovered and then turns out to be consistently performing well. Claudie Cooper is consistently in the wickets, and suddenly that then, on the balance of the team, means that you can't quite sort of squeeze your way back in. We've still got intermittent showers here, but for now the rain has stopped again. We were scheduled to start at 3. We're still hopeful that that might be the case. By the time we get to 3:30, we'll be on to potentially losing overs. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. 6 wins from 8 for Yorkshire so far this season across all formats. There were some interesting quotes from Rich Pyro on the Yorkshire website, kind of reflecting on the season so far, looking back and looking forward, talking about even that Worcestershire loss way back, it was a long, long time ago, by 114 runs on the 11th of April. He said, that was a bit of a leveller for the girls, a big winter leading up to it, first time out at Headingley for a lot of them. With the way they've reacted to it looking back, it was probably a good thing. Overall, it's been a good block. We've seen that the results have been good, but there's also been good individual performances. The pleasing thing for me is I'm seeing improvements from what we've worked on in the winter. You can see how well we're striking the ball. When we're batting with the fielding, we're looking at a better outfit. Also getting wickets at crucial times. All in all, it's been a decent start. How would you reflect on those quotes, Amy? And also, what were your memories of that start against Worcestershire? Because it feels like a very long time ago, and it feels like a lot has changed since then.
Yeah, a lot has changed since then. I think, going into Division 2, you don't really know what to expect of the standard. And I think that day maybe we went in there thinking, we've absolutely got this in the bag, and maybe we got a little bit too ahead of ourselves. And, in the comparison to Tier 1, which is, what half of the team are used to playing in, the pace is different, the consistency is different. You're probably a little bit more switched on, and I just think we weren't really on it that day, and we went a little bit back into our shells when things went wrong with the batting. But yeah, as Rich said, I think even in the change room we said, well, we will learn from this, and going forward, that was absolutely what we did. But yeah, at the time it was absolutely heartbreaking because we'd put in so much work and some great performances on pre-season tour. But yeah, that's what happens when you go in too confident and potentially without a plan. You get a bit complacent, don't you? So now we know kind of what to expect from this division, and yeah, kind of like riding the highs and the lows. But also we need to be on it every single game. We can't just let off thinking things are going to be easy. Do you know what I mean? And Rich is really good at setting that tone. If he sees that we're not switched on, Brycey will not be shy to say, "Come on, girls, switch on here. You're not focused." I think with it being a young team as well, sometimes that can happen. But yeah, we're very quick to then jump straight back into place and get a little bit more switched on than what we were.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar, Amy's referring to Chris Bryce, the Women's Lead Academy coach at number 2 behind Pyra, who was talking about the ground staff do their hard work getting things ready. Said, we're looking forward to the Blast now. I love this format. I did as a player. I really like the pace of it and being involved with the bat, ball and the field. It suited my game, and it's just good fun. That's what I want to see from the girls. And I guess this refers to the energy that we saw that Ward will bring as captain. We played some good cricket in the County Cup, and I just want them to keep going. Pyra in shot there, feeding to Ward, who, by her own admission, said hasn't done a lot of keeping in recent times because she's been in the outfield, but is delighted to have the gloves back. Rich Pyra, who, when he played for the Yorkshire men's team, in an era where largely Yorkshire weren't achieving what they had wanted with the white ball, but often were far more successful with the red ball, almost won 3 consecutive county championships under Jason Gillespie's coaching. But Pyra was tending to be one of the more impressive players in Yorkshire's white ball setup. So definitely brings those skills as a coach, I'd imagine, in terms of preparing you for this particularly short format of T20.
Yeah, he goes about his business in quite a quiet, reserved way. You probably heard me say that a few times. Like, Rich is like a man of very few words, but when he does speak, you listen. He's a very, respectable person, and he was a very, very good player, and he knows his stuff. He has a ball against us sometimes, and it looks like he hasn't lost it at all. I don't think he can move the next morning, mind, but he's just a great guy, and the combination of him and Chris Bryce is, they're complete opposites really. Bryce is quite emotional, and he kicks us into gear very fast, whereas Rich will sit back and observe and think about things a little bit more and go about things in a bit more reserved way. And I think it's a perfect combination of coaches, because you kind of got either to go to for whatever need that you have. But yeah, Rich is just wanting us to enjoy our cricket. Literally, he just says, stop thinking about the result. We just want you to enjoy yourselves, stick to the KPIs that we've planned, be disciplined, and be in every single ball. And, if we do that, and then the results will come. So I think he's good in terms of not focusing too much on the outcome, and actually what are the things we have to do to get those results. So he's been really good for the girls in terms of just focus on what you need to be doing individually and as a team, and things will be all right, because we've got a lot of talent here at Yorkshire, which is really, really exciting to see and be a part of.
Speaking of things that are exciting to see, the covers are being taken off by Jazz and the very hard-working ground staff. The umpires are heading out, just doing a quick inspection of the wicket, and we're almost ready to have live cricket for you, which is fantastic news. We were set for a 2:30 start. The rain has pushed that back by half an hour, but it will still be a T20 contest. Here, Yorkshire looking to make it 3 wins from 3 against Derbyshire this season. You're listening to Yorkshire Cricket TV. Yours truly, Michael McCann, joined by Yorkshire batter Amy Campbell, who's out for what she'll hope is just this one, with a slight back complaint, before we head to double-header time next Sunday, the 8th. There's also another double-header coming in July on the 13th, but next Sunday will be both against Leicestershire, women at 11 a.m. in Vitality Blast Women's League 2, and then in the men's blast at 3 p.m, Leicestershire Foxes will take on Yorkshire men's side, who, of course, are in action right now against Worcestershire. They're having a bit of better luck in the middle of the country when it comes to the weather, and so that means they've already been out there for a little while. Worcestershire is 75 for 2 after 7. Ed Pollock's gone for 12, caught by Adam Live off Tom Bess, and Kashif Ali has been caught by Will Sutherland off the bowling of Will O'Rourke. The two overseas combining to give the New Zealand international his first wicket in a Yorkshire shirt. And Adam Hose is out there with Oliveira. But our focus now, we've got live women's cricket at Headingley to bring you shifts very much here. We'll be keeping a little eye on the men's score periodically, and an eye as well on the other women's scores going on across the country in women's Metrobank League 2 action. It's Blast weekend where pretty much everybody in Tier 1 and Tier 2 on the women's side, and also on the men's side as well, gets going. Nice photo of the squad. One of the youngest 11s Yorkshire have surely ever fielded. Amelia Love, 16 years old. Holly Garton on debut, 16 years old. Amelia Oliver on debut, 17 years old. There is plenty of talent and plenty of youngsters around. And I'm making, in fact, there's only 3 players that are older than 22. Georgie Boyce, the debutant on loan from Blaze, is 26. Ria Thackrell's 25. And Rebecca Duckworth is 24. And, of course, they are led by Yorkshire's youngest captain in their history in a men's or women's competitive match, the 20-year-old Maddie Ward. Derbyshire have won the toss and chosen to bat. Claudie Cooper's got the ball in her hand from the Howard stand end. And Cooper has taken a wicket in the first over she's bowled in 6 of the 8 games that she's played in across this season. So she's made a really good habit of striking early. Yorkshire will hope that she can keep that run going here. Cooper searching for another early victim, and she's got a slip in play, and why not? Looks like Boyce who's in at slip. Still a T20 game, remember, despite the rain delay, we've not lost any overs. Cooper keen to attack with the ball in a 5-4 field with that slip. And he's got a 2 out in the power play at long on and deep mid wicket. First ball of the contest just prodded into covers by Lara Shaw, who is out there opening up with Jess Cusa for Derbyshire. Cusa made a nice cameo against Yorkshire earlier this season. So that's helped away through square leg. First boundary of the contest. Nice shot, just about evaded the fielder and picked up the length quite quickly there, Shaw.
Yes. I've never seen Claudia open the bowling, but I absolutely rate it. She's a great bowler. But yeah, just missed the length there a little bit. It was very, very quick on that. Races away at Headingley, doesn't it?
Yeah, you definitely get value square of the wicket here. That was another demonstration of it. That's it. Hard but straight to mid-off. There's definitely a slightly shorter side, and that is the side that Shaw was hitting towards there. Shorter side hitting towards the east of the ground. Longer boundary out towards the western terrace. And that's hit like a rifle through the covers. Manages to burst, I think, through the hands of the fielder. So a second boundary in this first over.
Yeah, it was a nice shot, that. Just a little bit over pitch, wasn't it? But she made enough room there. I hit the ball really cleanly. This is a nice start. I've heard that Shaw wasn't playing in the last game and she's quite a promising batter, so it'll be interesting to see how she goes today.
Yeah, Shaw made 74 against Gloucestershire in Derbyshire's season opener. Followed that with 65 against Kent, so she is in the runs. Steps across this time, gets in a slightly awkward position. It was a single that looked to touch Dicey against Yorkshire in the first meeting against them, and then made 29 off 24 in the T20 meeting. Loves pace in particular, and is very proficient scoring down the ground. And he's demonstrating that here. Nice shot downtown for 1. So Cusa off the mark. It's a good first over for Derbyshire, 10 without loss.
Yeah, that was a promising first over for them there. Just taking on the bad ball and, running singles to fielders. So they've obviously they're coming out quite attacking here and wanting to make a statement. Maybe put a few things right from last time.
Yeah, Derbyshire will have the psychological benefit of knowing that there's no real pressure of expectation in this fixture, given that they lost by 122 runs when these sides met in the first round of the Vitality T20 Women's County Cup, and they lost by 315 runs in that 50-over game when Amy Campbell, who's injured and alongside me now, was out there smashing 165 not out. It was actually the second biggest win in women's domestic List A history for a match played in England and Wales. Amelia Love has the ball in her hand. She has plenty of times this season very impressively, and that's a good start from Love, who, of all of those 6 youngsters that went on the pre-season tour, has definitely broken through more than anyone else. This is already her 6th appearance this season, and the only game that she's missed is the one where she was at school. So she was unavailable. It's just nerdled away. Get 1, they'll think of 2, and they are going to take it, and they will scramble back and get there. There was a brief bit of miscommunication between Shaw and Cusa, but well, that ends well. 12 without loss.
Yeah, that's really good running there. They are coming out quite attacking here, aren't they? Maybe they've seen that we've got a little bit of a younger side on today, and they're looking to put the pressure on straight away.
Ball from Love. He does like to attack the stumps. Just Turned away by Kuzi. Wasn't trying to get it there. It's come off the inside edge. Will get a bit of shape and swing with the new ball that Amelia Love. We've seen that plenty of times this season. Also interesting to note the shorter and longer boundaries. We saw this with the men's game on Friday night. The boundary towards the Western Terrace is particularly long out towards deep backward square leg and deep mid wicket because it's sort of flat around there, like it's almost like a bit of a rectangle on that side in terms of shape. Straight back to Love.
Yeah, definitely take 10-15 off, I reckon, on that corner, which they have done.
By contrast, if you're hitting at this point for sure out towards deep third or deep extra cover, those pockets are a little bit more generous to the batter.
Yeah.
Off the outside edge and almost caught at slip. It would have been a wonder catch in truth. A conventional second slip would have had an easy take. Well, that would have been quite a way for Georgie Boyce to announce herself on Yorkshire debut, but instead it's a lucky 4 runs for short.
Yeah, it's not a bad ball either, is it? That's good play from Lovey there. But you know what? In T20, if you swing hard enough and edge it, it's going fast, isn't it? You've definitely got more chance of getting it through.
Amy Campbell alongside who can definitely relate to how tough those slip catches can be from position a fair bit herself. Turned away to deep backward square. So Kuza on to strike. Shaw has 14. In fact, beg your pardon, last ball the over. So Shaw keeps the strike. 18 without loss after 2, Derbyshire.
Yeah, really good start here for Derbyshire. They've went about their business really well in the first 2 overs here, pushing hard to the fielders and putting that bad ball away. It'll be harder to score boundaries from the Howard stand end for them, I think, with the long boundaries on the leg side. Woolley with the ball in hand. It's good to see.
Yeah, that's a sight that all Yorkshire fans will be really pleased about. A long time out for Jess Woolston, a long road to recovery for the 22-year-old.
I'm really excited for her. See how this goes.
Yeah, make it her last game for Diamonds was back on the 8th of May last year. Immediately is finding the inside edge, and Shaw is just jabbing that into her own pad.
I feel like Woolly's put on a few yards, hasn't she? She should be a little bit slower with big swing, whereas now she has put on a few yards. She's a lot quicker than what she used to be. Maybe at the expense of a little bit of swing, but it looks good to me.
Way through the covers, no run. Yeah, it's fascinating seeing how a bowler's technique can evolve a little over time, and when you pick up one thing, you can have maybe a little bit less of another.
Yeah, I mean, that looked a little bit slower there with a bit more swing, so I think it's just good that she's got that in her locker, that variation. Especially in T20, mix it up a little bit, keep the batter guessing. A little bit more gym work as well, probably. You know, the girls get stronger, don't they? So.
Stand the ground, they're going to run that, and they will get through for 1. It's interesting you mention that, because one thing I was going to mention is that this is her maiden professional deal. So it does give you that chance in terms of that strength and conditioning, all those other little things that combine together. Definitely. When cricket can be your sole focus in life, to keep upskilling and improving.
Yeah, and coming back from rehab, you always come back stronger from rehab as well.
Swung away, and that's to one of the shorter pockets, and it's hit with decent clout, so it will go from Kuza, who doubles her score, 23 without loss.
Yeah, she picked that up nicely, didn't she? Waited for it. It was a good over so far from Willie. She'd been hitting a line at length, and they just picked that one up there.
Yeah, I'd only gone for one from those first 3 balls, so how can Woolston respond? Oh, it's mistimed off the outside edge. Trusty outside edge. Amelia Love down there. Fields at the expense of 1, so Cusa moves on to 9. Jess Cusa, who made her Lancashire debut against Essex at Abra back in 2009, and then more recent times has played for Warwickshire as well before joining Derbyshire in 2025. Very experienced. Straight at point. He fielded in there, zipped back. 3 overs gone, 24 for none.
Yeah, it's well fielded by Ellie Knight. I say she's got one of the best arms for a keeper that I've seen. A nice whippy left arm. I always see keepers.
That it was kind of effortless.
Yeah.
In a way, it was just zinged in at waist height. Also, a bit of the wicket keepers union, I guess. Just being like, I'm not going to give you one of those horrible ones at your toes that you hate. Dance camera on. Great to see the youngsters in, having a good time at the cricket in the sunshine. There's plenty of people in the YouTube live chat who are discussing the weather. Some a little less optimistic than others, but right now we've got cricket for you live in good weather, and we're still at a T20 game as the 4th over starts with a misfield, and it's a bit of a bonus 4 runs for Derbyshire that in truth shouldn't have been. Yorkshire will be a little bit disappointed there. Claudie Cooper, having changed ends, goes for 4 through no real fault of her own.
Yeah, she's hit that ball well, hasn't she? And yeah, you know it happens, but I think getting low and getting your body behind it is the way forward. Get a little bit more side on with that fielding.
Cooper responds with closest singer spinner can come with Tui Yorker.
12 balled.
Still adjusting to life up here, Claudie Cooper. Talked about it being a big change for me moving from London. Joke that she'd never been north of Watford before. That's gone off the outside edge, which has been kind to Derbyshire today, and there's nobody behind square on the offside, so it will race away for 4. Cusa didn't intend that, but regardless, will take the bonus, and this first wicket partnership is building very nicely.
It is building nicely, just a little bit over pitch there from Coop. She'll be disappointed with that. I'm sure she will be coming back here.
Yeah, she's been in the wickets consistently throughout this season, Claudie Cooper. In every game except the Warwickshire game, she'd taken at least 1, often at least a couple. Back on her line and length. And in this team today, while she might be 22 years old, given the amount of experience she's got around elite women's environments, is almost a bit of a senior player, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, well, Cooper's she's vice captain today, so she'll be supporting Maddie.
Tries to sweep Cusa, can't make contact. Oh, interesting. Yeah, because there was only 2 vice captains named at the start of the season, which was Rachel Slater, who of course is out with a broken wrist, and Maddie Ward. So with Ward captaining today and Slater and Winfield Hill unavailable was something I was meaning to ask you if there had been anyone officially named. So there we go. That's swept away. Big chase for Thackrell coming round from deep mid wicket on that long boundary. Keeps it to 2. It's going to be a tough shift for whoever's out there today. End of another over, and it's another good over for Derbyshire. 10 off it, so 4 overs gone. 34 without loss.
Right, we're giving Wooly another over. Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Ward juggles her bowlers today. So this will be Woolston's second. Cooper's had a couple. At some point will come the time for the leg spinner Holly Garton to bowl her first overs in Yorkshire. Then got Amelia Love, who we've already seen, and then the offies of Rhea Thackrell. And of course, Ward can't bowl herself unless she's going to do something relatively unlikely and take the pads off. Straight at mid-on. Dot to start the 5th over.
Yes, we've had Boise come out of slip there, and she's a close mid-wicket now. which I think is a really good option. Just shut that off there, shut that freedom off with that swing.
Particularly hitting towards that short pocket,
Yeah.
the deep mid wicket from when the bowling's at the Howard stand end. Straight at extra cover, so Yorkshire just building some dots here and sense of pressure.
Yeah, that's well bowled. I think that's perfect line of length, isn't it? They can't really do much with that, apart from a lofted drive over extra cover, and I'd be pretty impressed if I saw that.
Yeah, you're inducing a high degree of risk
Yeah.
in terms of what is needed. Plenty of T20 cricket going on right across the country. Woolston this time is pulled disdainfully through mid-wicket. It's a great shot from Kuza, who would have been feeling the pressure after those two previous dots, but Woolston drops short and gets punished.
Yeah, just missing that length there a little bit. I just hope the girls don't start to panic now. They're allowed to build partnerships. And I think, we know a couple of wickets down and we'll be on top of this team. So we just need to hold our composure here and bowl our best ball.
Better length from Woolston. And a nice tumbling stop in the covers to ensure there's no run.
That's well fielded by Garton there. Famous Garts.
Yeah, we were discussing a cheeky exuberance earlier on. We'll see her with her leg spin later on. She's got the sunglasses on the back of her cap. That does feel a little optimistic today. But we have seen the sun pop out on the odd occasion for a little bit. Mercifully, doesn't look like there's too much bad weather around right now. Nicely bowled from Woolston, who is looking to now get out the over without too much more damage. Over's only gone for 5 so far. Elsewhere in the country, in Tier 1, Durham in a tight nip and tuck game against Lancashire Thunder. And Yorkshire, of course, in action here against Derbyshire. Just rocks back straight at point and zinged in. Nice work there from Nightingale. End of the 5th over. A good tight over from Woolston, which you'd imagine might give Ward a dilemma as to whether to keep her going, give her a third. That's gone for 5. 39 for none.
Yeah, I think we've got quite a bit of spin today, haven't we? So whether they want to keep her for the back end, I don't know.
Yeah, when you look down that team, I make it to be that Woolston and Love are the only seam bowling options. Apart from that, you've got Cooper, you've got Thackrell, you've got Garton. So it's a very spin-heavy set of options for Captain Ward to negotiate her way through.
We have Garton with ball in hand now, so I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, 16-year-old leg spinner on debut for Yorkshire. Came on Yorkshire's pre-season tour to Abu Dhabi, and now, having had to wait a little while in the campaign itself, gets a chance. That's straight into the pads. Nice nerve-settling dot ball for Holly Garton. Imagine plenty at Kirk Dighton CC in the Nidderdale League will be watching. That's where she's come through playing club cricket. It's good a game from Garton into the covers. Gives it plenty of flight. She's a bit of an old school off spinner, leg spinner, really, at times.
Looks like there's a bit of turn in the pitch for her today as well, after that ball. Oh, there we go.
Well bowled by Garton. That's exactly the kind of shot you want to see if you're Holly Garton from shore.
Come on, Garts. Absolute legend. She'll rag it today, I reckon.
That's that ball
Look
again.
at that.
Well, if that turns a little bit less or bounces a little bit less, she does have a first wicket in a Yorkshire shirt. Just bounces too much, but she still hasn't gone for a run here. And she's bowled 4 balls. That's a little bit too short. Hit any harder, it might have been a catchy chance of Fackrell at deep mid-wicket. It is funny that as a leg spinner, the amount of times you can bowl 3 or 4 really good balls, and then you bowl something like that was objectively a long hop, and it ends up being the ball that gets you a wicket.
Yeah. Just cling on for a little bit too long. Through your action a little bit faster.
Just 1 ball left for Garton to complete in what's been an excellent first over for her in a Yorkshire shirt. Goes on the reverse. That's a very clever shot from Kuza. That outfield is very fast. This is going to take some stopping. It won't be stopped. So a very good over from Yorkshire's point of view. Just slightly spoiled by a boundary off the last. A very good boundary it was.
Yeah, she's done well there to get it from outside leg. Yeah, it was a great shot. She stayed in it and right in between the fielders there on the 45. So well played.
Yeah, it's not easy when you've committed to something of a premeditated stroke like that, and then you get a ball in terms of line and length that isn't really ideally suited to it. But Kuza stayed committed. I know that chatting to Lauren Winfield Hill after the T20 County Cup game between these two, she praised the batting of Jess Kuza, said that she put Yorkshire under real pressure in the power play. More spin. Ria Fackrell is on for her first. And it's being smacked away through extra cover. But this is one of those long pockets we were talking about. It's a deep extra cover and deep third in this over, because on that side the boundary shape is almost a rectangle. So that means that it's a touch unlucky, you could say for sure there, because if she'd hit that identical shot with the bowling from the pavilion end, she'd have got 4, but instead she'll get 2.
I'm surprised they got 2 there. They seem to be going down forever.
That's a nice flowing square drive out.
That's
1
nice.
fielded by Duckworth. You'd imagine Rebecca Duckworth will be looking at a pitch like this and quite fancying a bat later on in a chase. Does look a good surface to bat on. This is swung away. This is going to take some catching. Coming in from deep mid-wicket. It's dropped. A great chance for Yorkshire to pick up their first wicket of the game. But it's shelled out there. 47 for none. And it is a precious life for Jess Kuza.
I'm not sure who that was. Was that Erin Thomas?
That's it hard to the very same fielder who makes amends by taking it. Well, it was a harder catch than the one the previous ball. But Lara Shaw is gone. 47 for 1. And Yorkshire have a vital breakthrough. Ria Fackrell back in the side for the first time after a little while out. He's in the wickets.
Yep. Better line there for Marie.
That second one was hit like a tracer bullet. It was hit far harder, and the connection was actually far better than the first. But Erin Thomas holds on, and there was almost a disdainful throw of the ball back. You tend to get reactions a bit like that from a fielder sometimes when they're almost a bit disappointed about dropping the one before. But Erin Thomas kept her composure and held on. Jess Kuza gets a good ovation for a nice cameo 23 off 17. You wouldn't blame her for being a little disappointed to not go on with it, though, particularly when the opposition have given you a life from the ball before.
Well, yeah, I think that's quite right, isn't it? If you've had a chance and you've had a bit of luck, you'd probably not go for the same shot again, unless you're Amy Campbell. But yeah, Erin Thomas, she'll be very, very disappointed with herself in that drop catch. She's probably the most self-critical person that I know. So, and she's a very, very good boundary fielder. So that's not like her at all. But sometimes when it's in the air for a bit of time and you're a bit of an overthinker, it's not good, and you'd rather have it just a flat rocket towards you. More likely. Yes,
that second catch is more of an instinctive one. That's just worked away out to Thomas. Deep square leg as out comes Megan Pittman, who made 39 not out in season opener against Gloucestershire. Very powerful player. She's known for being one of the better six hitters in this Derbyshire lineup, and she used her feet a lot against spin, so keep an eye out for that when Pitman's facing Yorkshire's.
Yes.
Yorkshire's spin-heavy attack, but Pitman's gone to spin immediately. She can't believe it. It's chipped it straight back to Ria Fackrell, who has 2 wickets in the same over. And in 5 minutes or so, this game has turned Yorkshire's way. Coups are gone, and now Pitman has to walk off as well.
Yeah, I'm proud of the girls here for just, keeping their composure after Derbyshire got a good start there. Just carrying on ball on their lines and lengths and not losing it. Very impressive for Maria here. I'm absolutely buzzing for her now that she's back on the pitch and showing what she could do.
Yeah, beg your pardon. It's not Pitman who's gone. It is Shaw who's gone. So it's actually even better news for Yorkshire because both of the openers who built that very impressive first wicket partnership are now out. So it's a full rebuild needed here all of a sudden for the Derbyshire Falcons. And out there to try and do it is Natasha Allen, up there joining Pitman, who had hit that single from the previous ball.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a soft shot, wasn't it? After the previous shot she'd been playing. If you're gonna hit it there, you've got to give it a good wallop. Maybe just stuck in the pitch a little bit down that end. Yeah,
it was almost one of those you wonder whether she just didn't quite commit to, am I trying to hit this hard and down the ground, or am I trying to go up and over, and then you end up in the in-between that presents a caught and bowled chance for Ria Fackrell. So Garton back for a second. There's nothing you'd want as a leg spinner having bowled it more than when you bowled a good first over. Now you've got 2 new batters to have a bowl that. Sure. Pulled away with conviction out to Fackrell for 1.
Yeah, it's well bowled.
Score update from elsewhere. Worcestershire men are 155 for 2 off 15 against Yorkshire men. Brett Oliveira and Adam Hose with 50s. Yorkshire looking to avoid being 2 losses from 2, having suffered defeat on Friday night. Women going far better across this season. So that's bowled by Garton, who's definitely getting bounce and turn. And again, if that turned just a little bit less, that's Holly Garton's first wicket for Yorkshire. Plenty of good early signs here for Garton, who again is causing problems. That squirts away for 1 and is given as runs.
Yeah, the girls seem to be buzzing around now. They've got those 2 wickets, and as I say, once you've got the first 2 out,
certainly changes the dynamic, as Garton has got a wicket and she deserves it.
It's a no ball.
But it's a no ball. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Holly Garton, the 16-year-old leg spinner on debut for Yorkshire, induces the chop on from Pitman. But it's a no ball and a free hit.
Come on, Gart. She'll be gutted about that. She'll probably joke about it later, though. Hopefully she'll take it all right. Oh.
Beautifully bowled again by Garton. Yeah, it is, in terms of cricketing crimes, a no ball for a spinner is one of the worst on the charge sheet. But there's been so much enjoying the rest of her spell so far. She's only gone for 8 runs off 10 balls. So that's just turned away to point. That will be no run. And Yorkshire supporters getting a glimpse of Holly Garton for the first time are starting to see how she got Sophia Dunkley out stumped in pre-season and why so many are so excited about her.
Yeah, she's just getting a little bit of extra bounce today. It's making it, when she bowls that fuller lengths, making it really difficult for the batter.
There's a little too full, but she's got a deep set field in the right spot. So another good over from Garton, and at the end of the 8th, he's 52 for 2, and as well, one of one of Yorkshire's legends going a little bit further back, Geoffrey Boycott used to talk about a lot. It is that pretty much that classic we've seen so far of the add 2 wickets to the score. A very good opening partnership. Suddenly, Fackrell takes 2 wickets in the same over, and that should have been the 3rd wicket. But unfortunately, for Garton, she's done the hard work in terms of bowling, Pittman, but we'll have to.
In my opinion, that didn't even look like a no ball. Is that
Fackrell
controversial or not? Because her foot
not taking
her foot looked behind to me there. I'd quite like to see that again.
Not taking
if possible.
Not taking Amy Campbell long to get into her stride in the commentary box alongside me.
I'll be having words.
Howard stand end brings Fackrell again. She's being hit hard, but straight to mid off. Fackrell back for her 2nd. Her first brought those 2 wickets and went for 4. An excellent over that really changed the complexion of this contest. Now, Pittman and Allen have got to rebuild, but the rebuild hasn't lasted long. And Fackrell has a 3rd wicket.
Come on.
Oh, she's had to wait her time to get back into this Yorkshire 11, but she's making a real impact today, Ria Fackrell. She's got 3 wickets from just 8 balls. It's the end of Pittman for 3. And Derbyshire Falcons were 47 for none, and now they're 52 for 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure why she's played that shot. It probably they could have done with just building a partnership there and seeing off the 12th over really, and just trying to get 20-30 on the board. But yeah, it is T20, but this is where you've got to be a little bit. When you've lost a few wickets, it's been a bit clever middle order. And build those partnerships. I mean, the corners here are so big. Push those 2s and 3s. You don't have to go for the big ones just yet.
Yeah, and that's spoken by someone who knows all too well what a middle order rebuild is all about. Amy Campbell alongside me today out injured, but better and more often seen it at number 5 in the Yorkshire lineup. It's now up to Allen and Davies to rebuild for Derbyshire. A little short from Fackrell, but straight at short mid-wicket, and a bit of dicey running. They're actually going to get 1 on the buzzers as well, so they'll get 2. It's all happening here.
Yeah, we just need to clean up a little bit here, and I think potentially we're just seeing signs of a less experienced team, and hopefully we can just tidy up a little bit.
That's gain at short mid-wicket,
yes.
And that will be a run out. Well, Yorkshire benefiting from some really poor running from Derbyshire. There was never a single there, and somehow Allen and Davies have got themselves in all kinds of a pickle. 54 for 4. Scrambled minds for the Derbyshire Falcons, who've lost 4 wickets in the space of 11 balls there. And, well, the only reason, I was going to say the broadcasting classic of she wasn't even in the frame. She's only in the frame because the camera's behind the bowler's arm. If we were side on, not even close here.
Not to Claudie Cooper, she's an unbelievable athlete. Great fielder laterally as well, and a really, really top arm. So I would have backed her to get that run out any day of the week. If you're going to do that, definitely pick your fielders, and they picked the wrong one there.
I mean, you're not wrong about Cooper, but I also am compelled to say that I don't think there's a single there to anybody, really. I mean, it's not even close. And look, all too aware, and I'm sure plenty of you are watching on this live stream as well. I always say it, the game looks easy from up in the commentary box, but that is a run out again. Just scramble thinking for Derbyshire here in what is now we can say the dictionary definition of a batting collapse. There's been 4 wickets in around 2 overs or so, and Ria Fackrell is the person that has instigated the carnage. 9 overs gone, 54 for 4.
Yeah, quite a distinct change now from the start that they had. I think they'll be really, really disappointed. I mean, I think they started in a really attacking way, and looked like they had a clear plan, but yeah, as you said, like a bit of a scramble here. Fried egg brain, I reckon, Michael.
Fried egg brain.
It happens.
Is that a technical cricketing term that you've used throughout your decade or so at the top of women's cricket?
God, I've used it plenty, I think.
Garton continuing. And that's a slightly dipping one. The kind of delivery that looks like a juicy full toss, but by the time the dip has happened, it's a little better than that.
Yeah, got to be careful though, especially with a bit of turn.
Nolan Davies on strike. He's been joined by Darlow. That's a lovely looking cover drive, but stopped out there by Thomas, who's been busy out there. Darlow, who is someone who really's got a heck of a lot of connections to Yorkshire. Adriana Darlow, Derbyshire's captain. She joined Yorkshire as a 9-year-old, made her senior debut for Yorkshire back in 2016. She's hit a century for Yorkshire at under 17 level as well, but now he's out there for Derbyshire and just having a look at one there from Garton. She joined Derbyshire in 2022, but still plays men's cricket for Barnsley Woolly Miners, where she became the first female captain in Yorkshire Southern Premier League history. Leaves that one alone from Garton. She, like a lot of players in the way she structured her cricket, has got a men's team and a women's team. So she plays women's first 11 cricket for Sesse, one of the big clubs in Yorkshire. Starlow's just nurdling that one away. This is nice stuff from Garton. Actually plays at Sesse, Darlow, with Grace Hall and Jess Woolston, who Woolston might well get a bowl at her later. That's into the pads. That's Darlow a little bit confused. So we're at the midway point, and it's amazing how quickly a game of cricket can change. 55 for 4. Great over from Garton, who's having an excellent first spell in a Yorkshire shirt. The irony is the only ball you could say she's really got wrong was the no ball that denied her a wicket. 55 for 4 off 10. As we see the youngsters enjoying the dance cam. They're certainly bringing the vibes.
Yeah, it's good to see some young'uns there in the crowd. Yeah, I feel like Gart's there. She's bowling so well.
Adrian Adalo, who is Derbyshire's skipper and is out there trying to rebuild. Very capable middle order bat. That's a clever touch shot from Darlow.
Yeah,
We'll
well
get
played.
1. She's on to 3. Brings on to strike Harriet Parkin, who's still yet to get off the mark. Plays a club cricket for Spondon alongside 3 of her teammates today, Pittman, Allen and Hardwick. That's nicely timed. It's slightly bobbled on the practice pitch. Direct hit would have been close. Do scamper through for 1. So end of another over. 63 for 5 then.
Oh no, we're still on. Did you bowl a wide?
Oh, I beg your pardon. Glanced up at the board.
Have you eaten today?
Sorry. Appreciate you checking in. Just looked up at the board. It changed at the wrong moment. That's away out to deep square leg. And that will be the end of the over. 13 gone then. 64 for 5. And a deserved round of applause for Rhea Fackrell, who, much like Amelia Love and Olivia Thomas, takes a 4 for Yorkshire, but can't quite get it over the line to be a 5 for. But it is the best figures by Yorkshire women's bowler in any game this season. Her 4 for 11, bettering the 4 for 14, taken by Olivia Thomas at Derbyshire. It's quite a way to make your mark when you've been out of the side for a while and having to patiently bide your time.
Yeah, I think sometimes it takes a little bit of pressure to come into your own.
Now, Yorkshire forced to head elsewhere with Garton and Fackrell bowled out. So Love is back on. She went for 8 from her first. Spin had been doing the damage, so part of me had wondered whether it might be Cooper.
You keep Coops for the last over, maybe.
A little shorter, straight at point. Cooper had gone for 20 off her first 2. There's a couple left for Woolston. And there's 2 left for Love after this. I'll be a little surprised if we see anyone else outside of the 5 that have bowled so far in this Vertu live stream.
Yeah, I reckon Ducky fancies herself a bit of off-spin. She talks about it quite frequently. I would love to see that, though.
Nice looking shot out to deep square. Doesn't every batter at some point try and talk themselves up for some kind of bowling job, if nothing else, just because of wanting to break up having to field for such long periods of time?
Michael, there was a training session in the winter where I bowled a bit of off-spin and the girls were in awe of the amount of turn I got.
How was the consistency? Here's Love. Short, flayed away, and this will take a bit of stopping out for Thomas, who will get there. And keeps it to 2.
Fielded. You know what? The consistency was all right. It was the fact that my trap was up by my ear the next day and I couldn't move. I was like, absolutely never bowling again. I don't know how people do that. Not sure I'd be playing at 33 if I turned to bowling now. Past that.
Yeah, definitely. Generally, you do see those that are batter finding it easy to go on a little longer, although women's cricket being into the fully professional era certainly means that we're going to see a lot more players able to prolong their careers far more than previously would have happened, which is great.
Yeah, hopefully.
Short, good bouncer from Love, intentional. And it's a good response from Parkin, who, with real conviction, almost baseball style, pulls it through mid-on for 4. Good, strong shot. Let's see what Love was trying to do. But Parkin responded in kind.
Yeah, I do see what Love was trying to do, but, you know, that cow corner is pretty open right now. And, you know, he got cover out, I would say, pitched up a little bit. But I do see what she was sort of trying to do. But she's picked that length up pretty quickly, hasn't she? And it's a good shot. She's played that well.
Just looking for the surprise bumper. You're listening to Yorkshire middle order batter Amy Campbell alongside yours truly, Michael McCann, on the Vertu live stream. It's another bumper from Love, and that's gone through Ward, who I think it's safe to say wasn't expecting it. It is a bit of a nightmare for a keeper when your bowler bowls a bouncer standing up. It's going to be 5 wide, so just a little bit of the pressure Yorkshire had built being released here.
I kind of anticipated that ball because, as I said before, it's unusual bowling a bouncer when Cow wasn't out, and there was a big space there, but obviously Ria got sent to the boundary, so I was anticipating a little bit. I'm not sure if that was communicated with Maddie or not. It just went straight through her hands there. But yeah, it was always difficult taking a bouncer when you're standing up as a keeper.
Great to see the dance cam getting one spectator's attention. That's short. That's sort of come off the toe end of the bat. It's away for 1. 76 for 5. These two have put on 19, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in the context of the collapse that they came in to try and stem, it's something of a recovery from 58 for 5. End of the 14th over. 76 for 5. So that over's gone for 12.
Yeah, Derbyshire are doing a little bit better now. I'm actually quite glad to see the girls being put under a little bit of pressure, just to see how they respond to this, and work through some tactics and put that into practice. I really don't enjoy an easy game. I just don't enjoy watching it. So it's it's good to see Derbyshire putting up a little bit of a fight here.
Yeah, there's a collapse of 5 wickets for 11 runs there. As Cooper's new over starts with being guided back towards her. 5 for 11, which took Derbyshire from 1 for 47 in the 7th over to 5 for 58 in the 11th. Yorkshire will hope that proves somewhat match-defining as Cooper's nearly picking up another wicket there. He's only gone wicketless in 1 game so far this season, number 39 off 3 in the quarter-final against the Birmingham Bears in the Women's T20 County Cup. Quicker and flatter from Cooper, nudged straight to short fine leg.
Come on.
And
yeah, miss feels like that.
Yeah.
A little bit annoying, aren't they? But, it happens. And I always find it difficult fielding behind the bat. It's not a fielding position I like to be in at all.
Flight that time from Cooper. That's come off the inside edge, and that could be a run out. Well, it was right to try because anyway that was going to be run out was a direct hit. Parkin and Darlow scurrying through.
It's very much like to be in front of the bat, so I know there's
a
lot of turn, a lot of lateral, yeah.
Yeah, it's a curious game, cricket, isn't it? And there's certain players that particularly prefer to field in particular positions.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For various reasons. Some that really like having sight of the ball the entire time. Backward point is often one you hear as being something of a specialist fielding position, as well as the obvious ones like slips and out of cow. Plenty of flight on that one from Cooper, straight at cover from Parkin. Maddie Cooper, who went for 20 off her first 2, has bowled a much better third over there. It's gone for just a couple, 78 for 5 off 15.
Yeah, much better over from Cooper there. She bowled a little bit fuller there, didn't she? Not giving the bat much room to rock back and just hit square and into the pockets, which seems to be a little bit easier at Headingley.
Yeah, it was interesting. Rich Pyra said about her. It's been a big move for her coming up from London to live in Leeds at 21 years old. It took her a while to settle in over the winter, but cricket's going from strength to strength. You can see her growing in confidence. The shape she gets on the ball as a spinner is really good. She does a lot of people with flight. Gets a lot of wickets early, which has been a theme of her season. She's got 1 over left and has gone for 22. Love is back for her 3rd over. Love has been a tad on the expensive side, but Ward's keeping faith with her here. It's something of a calculated gamble because Love was going to probably have to bowl 2 more overs of the last 5 at some point. So even though Love's last over has gone for 12, she's staying on. Well, yes, she is staying on at this pavilion end.
Yeah, and that's well bowled. Good start to the over there. I think once, when Lovey gets her line and length right, so, she's pretty much unplayable. She's done great this season so far. She's just been off on her lines a little bit today, but, we all have those days. Let's see if she can bring it back here.
This time it's being smacked away. Good strong shot from Darlow. It will only just go to the rope. She didn't quite time it. It was more sort of muscled. It was power that got it there from Derbyshire's captain. Of course, has so many Yorkshire links, but has taken a little chunk out the scoreboard for Derbyshire against Yorkshire there.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a bad ball, and she opened up quite early. I think the batter knew what she was doing there and where she wanted to hit it. Created a little bit of space for herself. It was a good shot, well played.
Great to see almost 1,300 of you watching right now. Make sure to subscribe to the Yorkshire Cricket YouTube channel for more live streams right across this season of both teams. As this time it's been guided square the wicket out to deep cover for 1, 83 for 5. So from here, a run a ball would get Derbyshire to 110. You'd imagine these two would want a little more than that, though. Let us know at home in the comments what your prediction might be for where the visitors will end up from here.
1, 2, 3 is my prediction.
1, 2, 3. There you go. Nerdled away. Gonna have to get a bit of a wriggle on to get to that. They're going to have to. They need someone like an Amy Campbell in to hit a few sixes for them at the death.
It'll be all right.
Great to see some more youngins having a good time at the cricket.
What have these kids had for breakfast?
Yeah,
Seriously,
I know.
they're going insane.
We need to investigate. They have. You'll be pleased to know that a few of them have got a hoodie on this time. So clearly,
yeah, thank God.
Clearly, the odd responsible adult
warm.
in there has made sure there's no hypothermia. Smashed away through mid wicket, and that's going to be 4 more for Darlow. Second boundary of the over. So it's good batting from Adriana Darlow. Long on was put out after that first boundary, and now that one's been pulled away through mid wicket. So Derbyshire's captain flying on to 15.
Really good from Darlow there. She just moved across the stumps and she knew exactly where she wanted to hit it. Big space out there, so it's really, really good batting.
I should say on the kids while we're talking about the weather. It's a bit muggy, but we're in and around kind of 18 degrees, so it's not too cold by normal English summer standards. That's nibbled away through the covers, and they will get one. Running at times has been a little dicey today, but that was a good call. And this partnership is suddenly really starting to build from 58 for 5. Derbyshire up to 89 for 5 at the end of the 16th. It's another expensive over, and it's an over that concedes 11 all told.
Yeah, that was a good finish from Amelia Love, but I think she should be relieved to get out of that over there. Got hit for a few. I feel like Darlow's playing it really well here and actually showing her experience in terms of where the field is and how to get the ball there.
Yeah, she's someone that has such a long history in Yorkshire cricket. She hit 150 not out for the Sesse women's first team against Sheffield Collegiate last season and still plays her cricket up here in Yorkshire. Jess Woolston on from the Howard stand end. Just 4 overs left. That's down the ground for 1 from Darlow. Score update from elsewhere. 1 Rose, 1 Yorkshire, 1 Club. Ray'd hear me on a women's live stream talk much about men's cricket, but after all, it is Yorkshire Cricket TV. And men are in action at Worcestershire. They need 202 to win. Worcestershire have made 201 for 5 batting first. 2 wickets each for Don Bess and Will Sutherland. Oh, beautifully bowled from Jess Woolston. And the chainsaw celebration as well to match. Lot of months of rehab have gone into that moment of satisfaction for Jessica Woolston, who will feel $1 million, and why not? She gets parking for 10 with an absolute peach on her first competitive appearance for Yorkshire this season. It came in initially and then came back out. We'll get a few replays of that because it was absolutely gorgeous and had clearly been working on that celebration too.
Yeah, it doesn't really get much better than that, does it? Oh, she'll be absolutely buzzing with that, Willie, and I'm buzzing for her because, she's really been going through it the last couple of months, trying to recover from her surgery and all the hard work paying off there.
Hopefully we might just get a chance to see it again from front on, because that front on angle really highlighted what a brilliant delivery that was. Here we go. Just watch this. Comes wide of the crease. It looks for all money like it's going in, and then it just holds its line a little, if not maybe shapes out a bit. Just watch here, there, after pitching, and just plays inside the line, Parkin, who walk off at least having the satisfaction of knowing that took a good ball to get her out. As Woolston is in a nice channel outside the off stump this time. Jess Woolston, who made her senior regional debut, what feels like a long time ago actually now, back in 2022. Later stages of what was a winning Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy Diamond, Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy campaign for the Diamonds.
Yeah, she's played a lot of cricket, hasn't she, for how young she is.
And again, Woolston in really good spots. Ward's eyeing a stumping here. And feeling like she wasn't far away. Woolston has 1 for 12 off 2.4. Great glove work here.
Oh!
Well.
I'm not happy about that, mind. I am not happy about that.
You can see why Maddie Ward was up for it with excitement, let's say. Never an easy job being an umpire.
No, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
That's full toss out into the covers.
I sometimes think they're too far out.
They're too far. Oh, it's
too far out into the ring. Like, how is she able to see that from there? You know, not a chance.
Amy Campbell going for the Jose Mourinho. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. Which was.
I'm always in trouble. I'm used to it. It's fine. God. Bit of a risk put me on the mic, actually. Feeling frisky today.
Clark on strike, still looking to get off the mark. And he's a bit unlucky not to with an excellent shot there. And she'd gone halfway down the pitch and realised she'd nailed it straight at cover, so needed to get back. You can't see too much from that angle because Georgie Boyce is fielding there, which of course she's completely entitled to be doing. 90 for 6. What is for sure is it's a great over from Jess Woolston. Just 1 run from it. And picks up a wicket as well. Wicket that will mean so much to her given her injury struggles. Youngsters are still out there, and now it's the dance cam. Of course, they're up and about.
Bless them.
So
I'm glad they're having a good time.
Exactly what you want to see at the cricket. And as Yorkshire take more wickets, bean sugar.
Yeah.
That's way for 1. Just a bowl full of it.
Yeah.
That's Darlow losing strike, and Yorkshire won't mind that because Darlow's looked really good for her 18 here. So now Yorkshire get the chance to have more of a bowl. Clark, who's still yet to get off the mark. Straight at point, they are going to run here. Could well be a run out. The bowler's end, it will be a run out. Well, it's another mix-up. It's gone in that awkward sort of area at point where the 2 batters weren't sure whose call it was. Darlow had charged down towards the strikers, then Francesca Clark was ball watching and frankly hadn't moved. Very neat work from Yorkshire in the field. Very neat work from Cooper to whip the bails off. And 91 for 7 is now the score. Francesca Clark is run out for a duck. Ellie Nightingale with the smart work, and Claudie Cooper proving the dictionary definition of something that I hear a good friend of mine I played club cricket with say incessantly, and it's absolutely spot on for bowlers, which is get to your stumps. We might get the time to have another look at that replay, and something for all young cricketers to watch. Watch Cooper here as the ball is struck away out to point. Watch what Cooper does immediately. He's around the stumps, is in the vicinity, is there ready to affect the run out.
Yeah.
It's quite astonishing how much cricket you watch where bowlers drift away and then an opportunity for a run out comes at the bowler's end and they're not where they should be, and you end up with overthrows, you might end up with buzzers, or you end up being solely reliant on a direct hit because Cooper wasn't in exactly the right spot there, and Francesca Clark would still be batting. So very smart from Claudia Cooper. You'd expect nothing less, but certainly a little coaching note for plenty to take hold of as Cooper's getting a dot here.
I've got a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
And it's a discussion about, like, Claudia got in front of the stumps there.
Yeah.
What do you think about keepers getting in front of the stumps?
Keeper again fires it in quicker and flatter. So I've seen a lot of research on this from both sides as such. I've seen the argument, I've seen studies where they've had both of them do it, and it shows that if you take it in front of the stumps, you get the bails off quicker. That's one for Darlow. That brings Rose onto strike. Of course, the other side of that is that if you've got a potential direct hit, the keeper takes it in front of the stumps, you've ended up going slower than you otherwise would have done. But I know there's been a bit of video analysis time, so they've got people to throw the ball in from both angles, and they've shown that it is quicker if you come in front. So more often these days, it does seem to be in vogue.
It is quicker. I would argue that in front of the stumps, if you're coming in off the ring. So it's a good over by Claude there, wasn't it?
Yeah, 92 for 7. And it should be said as well, Cooper went for 20 off her first 2 there, and her last 2 went for 4. So she's pulled that back really well across her spell to end up going for exactly a run a ball. So none for 24 or 4 for Cooper, none for 12 or 4 on debut for Garton, 4 for 12 for Thackrell, the star of the show. Love and Woolston have both got 1 left.
Yeah, so I think we've had it in the team this year so far. 3 that could have been direct hits taken by the keeper, and obviously we haven't whipped them off in time. So so for fielders in the ring, I think there's a place for it. For the keeper being a little bit more side on.
Woolston on to bowl the final over from, or continuing, I should say, to bowl the final over from the Howard stand, straight at deep mid-wicket. Darlow's lost the strike again, and Yorkshire won't mind that at all because she's absolutely the senior partner here. The number 6 has 20 off 28 now, and she's out there with Gemma Rose, much better known primarily for her skill with her flighted leg spin, which we'll see later on.
It's important for Darlow to stay in now.
Rose is just trying to nibble that away. All Derbyshire need is just for Rose to find a single here. But in the previous over, Darlow's aggressive backing up to try and get herself back on strike was what brought the run out of Francesca Clark.
I just think that's where the communication needs to be clear with the batters. Like, if you're going to go every ball, make sure you're backing up and you trust each other's decisions.
Remember to scan the QR code, vote for your Vertu player of the match. Of course, a little early to pick, but got to think Rhea Thackrell's done herself no harm. That's nice in the channel from Woolston.
Yeah, this is going to be frustrating for Darlow.
And she's doing the old come down and have a chat, which...
Yeah, I'd be itching at the bit, I think. What was it, biting at the bit or itching?
Chomping at the bit.
Chomping at the bit, that's it. I'd be chomping at the bit for it to just get a bat on it. So they
And if Yorkshire are alert here, which I'm sure they are, they're alert to the possibility of a run out from an either single.
Yeah.
And indeed, some of the fielders in the ring are just coming in, creeping in a few yards, eyeing that possibility. That's good, sensible cricket from Yorkshire.
Good play, Maddie Ward. Look at that.
It's Nicely bowled by Wilson. Darlow's charging through. Darlow will get a single. It's a leg by, so Rose is still not off the mark. The problem for Darlow is there's only 2 balls left of the over now. So Darlow's dilemma with just the 8 balls left in the innings, is she thinking about strike or is she just thinking about going after it at this point? Deep square leg, deep mid-wicket, long on. There's a ring of 4 on the offside and then a deep third. So if Darlow can make room outside leg, might look to go up and over the offside. Otherwise, it's a mostly deep set onside field. Square leg could be gap. There is a square leg in the ring, but she can go aerial over that. What does Darlow do? It's just nibbling this away. That's 1. Yorkshire won't really mind that too much. 1 ball left of the over for Rose to negotiate.
That's really well bowled by Woolston there. Nice and full, middle and leg, offsides up. Really, really good signs for her coming back here and bowling to her field really well.
Beautifully bowled again by Woolston. So Rose can't get anything from that one. And it's an excellent comeback spell from Jess Woolston that she looks to have also come through unscathed. 1 for 14 off 4 for Jess Woolston. 19 overs gone, 95 for 7. And just to sum up how much this innings has changed, Derbyshire added 47 off 6.4 overs for the first wicket. So that took them 40 balls, but the 48 runs that have been scored since then by Derbyshire have taken them 75 balls. So the scoring rate has effectively halved ever since the fall of wicket that split the openers up, and there's been 7 wickets lost. I mean, I don't want to get too much into that old football cliche of a tale of 2 halves, but it really has been.
Yeah.
Last over the innings, Amelia Love to bowl it. None for 32 off 3, and she's being hit hard down the ground. Good confident shot, and it is just about kept in play. It's sometimes it's important to have a bit of luck on your side, and Yorkshire definitely had that there. Darlow gets 2.
I don't know how she's managed that. I don't know if her foot clicked.
And she's got a big chuckle on her face because she's aware of the thought. She looked to have missed it.
Yeah,
and then
saved by the foot.
And then it was the trailing leg that came through and did the trick for Yorkshire. So that's out to Thomas, deep cover for 1. So now Darlow has 24, but has lost the strike. And what the camera didn't quite catch her while it was following Thomas, is Darlow just sort of threw her head up to the heavens there in frustration. And you can see her there. She's just pacing around at the non-strikers with a little bit of disappointment, eager to now get a single to get the strike back. Rose yet to score. That's
well played.
Something Derbyshire will be happy with. Turned away for 1. 99 for 7, so 2 balls left.
Bit far off 1, 2, 3. I think I was giving them a little bit of credit there.
Yeah, and Yorkshire will fancy the chase. It's a pitch that does not look to have a lot of demons. It's actually the same pitch that the round 3 game against Essex was played on here in the Women's County Cup, where more than 350 runs were scored in that T20.
Yeah.
By all accounts, the surface has only been used for half a T20 game that got rained out since. We'll have to re-bowl that one, Love. Who's in and amongst what's been a very good bowling performance for Yorkshire, has just been the one frontline bowler that hasn't quite had the day she'd have wanted here. She was trying to back of the hand slur ball there.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't mind that she's young and she's trying these skills that she's learned throughout the winter, and that's what we want to see. Younger players is being brave enough to use those variations. So I don't mind that at all.
Love this time. Hit down the ground by Darlow straight to Cooper. No run. Darlow, the one player outside of the 2 openers, Shaw and Kuza, who's managed to get into a rhythm and a flow of batting here for the visitors.
Yeah.
Parkin did, to a credit, at least hold an end up in making 10 off 18, but apart from that middle order hasn't fired as the visitors would have wanted. sounded good off the bat, but has picked up deep cover.
They'll be looking for
They
two
are,
here.
they are going to get two. Slight misfield from Thomas. And means it's 102 for 7 with 1 ball left of the innings for Adriana Darlow. Once of Yorkshire, who still plays a lot of her cricket in Yorkshire despite being Derbyshire's skipper.
It's never easy once we've had a bit of rain and boundary riding. It's never nice.
Last ball of the innings.
Soggy.
Darlow gets funky, and she's going to get 1. I'm not sure it was off the bat. 103 for 7 then. And it will be 104 to win for Yorkshire, who have managed something of a remarkable turnaround from when Shaw and Kuza were going well early doors for the visitors, who won the toss and chose to bat, were 47 for none in the 7th over, but end up, after a middle order collapse, having to rebuild a touch at the end and settle for 103 for 7. Credit to Adriana Darlow, Derbyshire captain. She finishes 27 not out. Ria Thakral on her return to the Yorkshire side with 4 for 12. Holly Garton on debut with none for 12 from her 4. Jess Woolston on her injury return with 1 for 14. Amelia Love a little expensive, none for 40 off her 4. Not quite her day. And Claudie Cooper pulled things well at the back end. Pulled things back well at the back end of her spell. None for 24 off 4. So at the halfway stage, Yorkshire batter Amy Campbell alongside. Safe to say, in Yorkshire's first Vitality Blast campaign of the new season, pretty content with that.
Yeah, I'm really content with that. I'm chuffed with how the girls really composed themselves under a little bit of pressure at the start, and they kind of knew if they got a few wickets there that you'd really be putting the pressure on Derbyshire. So they did well to keep calm there, and obviously Ria's come back and taken a fair few wickets there, so she'll be buzzing with that after having a difficult time just sat on the bench, and this is her first game back in a while, so I'm absolutely over the moon for that. And there's a lot of beginnings there as well. There's a lot of sort of young ones coming in and playing for the first time, and the way they handled themselves. Garts was brilliant there. Really accurate. It's a shame about that 1 wicket, but proud of her. And obviously Wilson coming back after foot surgery. So I'm buzzing. The girls have done really, really well there, and showed how good we are even with a young side.
So 104 to win for Yorkshire against the Derbyshire Falcons in the Vitality Women's T20 Blast League 2 opener. We'll be back for the run chase in around 10 minutes or so here at Headingley, where thankfully after that pre-match rain it looks like the weather gods have been kinder to us. In the meantime, we'll leave you with all the best bits from that first innings. Welcome back to Headingley for the run chase. 105 to win for Yorkshire. Now, those of you who are eagle-eyed, beady-eyed, might notice that when we'd left you, we'd said it was 104 to win. That's because the scorers popped in to our media production control room and told us that essentially they had noticed that Derbyshire had made an extra run, but everybody else in the ground had missed it. So it turns out that Derbyshire actually got 104 for 7 from their 20 overs. That'll be 105 to win for Yorkshire. Great to have your company wherever you are across the world. I'm very delighted to have Amy Campbell's company once more. She's just popped down to the team room, used the player privilege card to get herself some well-earned food.
Yeah, I'm absolutely ravenous. I didn't have a good breakfast. And when I get hungry...
Forgetting that even when you're injured as an athlete, you still need those carbs and still need that protein. Here's the first ball of the run chase, which is a nice delivery that's just left alone outside off stump by Georgie Boyce, Yorkshire's new recruit on loan from Blaze, someone who comes with an extensive history. Started her career at Notts way back in 2013. She's played for Lancashire Thunder and Manchester Originals in the 100, but I'm sure now she's playing for the right Rose. Yorkshire fans can forgive her that. And she's opening her Yorkshire run account here with a well-judged quick single, even with a direct hit would have got home, and that allows Erin Thomas to take guard. 1 for none.
Yeah, that's good running from them too. Shows that they're putting pressure on from the start and they're showing good intent to chase this down.
New opening combination for Yorkshire at the top. Of course, it's been Lauren Winfield-Hill and Erin Thomas for the majority of this campaign. Short and Thomas gets her hands through that, and it's managed to burst through mid-on. I think sort of half stopped it, but not enough to prevent it ultimately going for 4. So Yorkshire's first boundary of the run chase, scored by Thomas.
Yeah, I feel like Thomas really hits the pockets well, doesn't she? Anything short is going to go a little bit square. She's got that natural swing, hasn't she? Need to get it up there.
Straight at cover, no run.
Like that. That's a much better area to hear that. Any sort of length she picks up real quick, and yeah, she hits the ball bloody hard. So need to be really, really tight on the lines with Erin.
She's made a lot of solid cameos this year without quite going on. She'll hope today in the sunshine is her day. So that's going to have to be rebowled by Davies.
Yeah, I mean, she got a few in a twos game the other day and versus Blaze, second team. And yeah, she followed that on, doesn't she, against the Bears.
Yep, that's her best knock this season. It's Thomas this time is getting lucky. Flies away off the outside edge for 4 runs. So 9 off the first, 2 boundaries for Thomas.
Yeah, swing hard and it'll go. I don't mind a bit of that. Shows good intent from her. It's quite well bowled.
Yeah, she's definitely not a player that can ever be accused really of lacking intent, Erin Thomas. You allude Amy Campbell alongside to that Bears innings. We'll come back to that. As Thomas this time is pushing through the vacant cover region and will get 1. So it's now the end of the over. In fact, 11 for none after 1 then. And Thomas has 9 of them. Boyce off the mark. Thomas made 39 off 21 in that game against the Bears, that quarter-final of the Women's T20 County Cup. It's safe to say she was one of the big positives of the day.
Yep.
Before that, across the season, in T20 cricket, scores of 22, 4 and 3. That 22 came against Derbyshire. And then in the 50-over format, scores of 4, 25, 22 against Derbyshire, today's opponents, and 23. So she's got into the 20s 4 times and got out in the 20s 4 times, and she's made 3 single-figure scores and then that impressive 39 against Bears. She'll hope today she can go on with it. It's that first ball with a new over from the Derbyshire captain Darlow is just pushed back by Thomas.
Yeah, I feel like with Erin, she's such an attacking player that, you know, if she feels like she's on a roll and she's getting off to a good start, which all those 20s were.
As Thomas is swinging away, might have picked out deep mid-wicket, has picked out deep mid-wicket. So Erin Thomas has to go. Yorkshire lose an early wicket. Thomas, naturally an attacking player, perishes in doing so. The Derbyshire captain, Adriana Darlow, who batted really well, gets an early breakthrough, 11 for 1. Thomas gone for 9.
Yeah, she'll be devastated with that. She'll be absolutely devastated. But what I was saying before is, yeah, those 20s have been really, really good, solid starts for us, and she's a very instinctive player. And, you know, a lot of those were, you know, caught on the boundary, and it's kind of like, you know, it will come eventually. And when she got that 70-odd against Blaze, she kind of like got over that, you know, mid-20s curse, which sometimes if you get like 3 20s in a row, you do seem to think that you're cursed, but, you know, getting that bigger score and in that T20 against Blaze seemed to break that, and then she went forward and played really, really well against the Bears, but she'll be really, really angry with herself there and not just allowing herself to get in and hit the ball hard along the ground into the pockets, first of all.
Yeah, and it has been a little bit of an unwanted theme. She's got caught quite a few times in that sort of just in front of square leg round to a wide mid-on, particularly deep mid-wicket area. And so it was it's easy to say as well from up here, but it was the longer boundary as well. It's the bigger hit from this, and the bowling's from this end as Darlow tries to skip one through, bowling at Amelia Oliver in at 3. 17-year-old batter who was in the Northern Diamonds Academy, plays her women's cricket for Harrogate. Oliver playing a really nice little touch shot through the offside. That was a good half stop at point to keep it to 1. It's a little bit unlucky to not get 4 for a shot that was so well timed.
Yeah, very well timed for your second ball. Just created a bit of space there and offside her up, so why not? Get your hands through it. And it was really well played. She was right under the ball there. Don't mind opening up the stumps if you're right under it and, you know, you're timing it.
Yeah, it's often people talk about a sign of a good player of spin coming down the track, meeting it on a half volley or going right deep in your creases. Oliver did there.
Yep, good signs.
Boyce straight to short mid-wicket. Georgie Boyce, for those somewhat unfamiliar, has been around a long old time. This is her 98th game of senior women's T20 cricket. And Boyce is that time playing straight back to Darlow, who with all of her Yorkshire connections will be particularly keen to make an impression today, and she already has a wicket for the Derbyshire side that she leads. Yorkshire 12 for 1 then after 2.
It'll be interesting to see how Boyce goes around it and goes about her innings now. You know, being the more senior player there, we could really do with her staying in for a little bit. She's obviously under the pump a little bit. It's first game for Yorkshire, and you know, I hope she's experienced enough to know that the longer she's there, the better, and there's no pressure on her here. Just stay there, and the runs will come.
Yeah, commentated on her playing for Blaze in the Women's T20 County Cup finals day on Monday. Feels like a long time ago now, the way there's so much cricket on at the moment. She found it a little bit tough against Kate Cross, one of the world's best, of course, and also a very impressive young bowler in Grace Potts, who's made the move from Sparks to Lancashire this season. So that's short and wide, out into the covers. No. Oliver picks up 1. Just a good bit of strike rotation from Amelia Oliver on debut.
Yeah, that's good rotating, honestly. I think just for the time being, it's kind of like just trying to hit the ball cleanly and positive intent, but intelligent, clever cricket.
So that's straight to mid-off. Work's got through mid-off, and that will go for 4. Bit of luck for Georgie Boyce. She'll take it. Her first boundary in a Yorkshire shirt.
It's always good to get your first boundary after a few dot balls and really settle into it. It's a lovely shot that she just lent into that and timed it really well. And also running as soon as you've hit the ball and putting the pressure on the fielder just shows with that misfield there. It's really good from them too.
Boyce out to deep cover. 18 for 1. If you're just joining us a little bit late here, 105 to win for Yorkshire in their Women's Vitality Blast League 2 opener. It's part of a run of fixtures Yorkshire have got. And speaking of runs, there will be 4 of them there down the ground. So Yorkshire just starting to let a bit of the pressure go after that early wicket, because Amelia Oliver has her first boundary in Yorkshire colours.
I was not expecting that to go straight. Were you?
Yeah, valid.
It's a great shot.
Just jabbed off the bottom half of the bat. One thing to watch that immediately comes to mind with Oliver, she's got a very open bat face in her stance.
Yeah.
Something that we'll try and use our work of our excellent camera operators around the ground to show you as best we can when she's facing up. But just keep an eye on it. As that's away for more runs. 4 of them out to one of the shorter pockets at deep mid-wicket. So a couple of boundaries to help Yorkshire end the over nice and strongly. Suddenly things looking a bit better for the White Rose. 24 off, 26 for 1 off 3, 14 off that over. Yorkshire score more than doubled from it. Oliver has 10 of them, Boyce has 6.
Yeah, that's great from Oliver there. She's a young player, and you know she's just come into this team today, really. So just to see her intent from at the start of her innings, batting 3 at Headingley is great to see.
Not too long on for one more. This partnership building promisingly. Won't get anything for that on Oliver. Well, you wouldn't have blamed her for being a bit nervous on debut, but she definitely hasn't shown it.
No, she's good. She actually plays a lot of cricket. She was at Sedbergh School, played a lot there. And then now she's at Yorkshire Cricket College, and she plays a lot with the boys, which is really, really good for your development.
I tell you what, it's a decent players that have come out of those 2 places that you just named. Harry Brooke came out of Sedbergh, and St Catherine Sivers-Brunt came out of Yorkshire Cricket School. That's going to be 1 in trying to get the run out. It's a misfield that brings 2. So Oliver's on to 12, and this partnership is rapidly rebuilding.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by putting pressure on the fielder. As soon as you hit it hard, it's a yes. Immediate pressure on the fielder. You've got to pick that up cleanly and go for the direct hit.
Darlow once more, this time being worked behind square on the offside. Oliver's on to 13. The problem for Derbyshire here, even having struck early to remove Thomas, is they haven't got a lot of runs to play with. So the required run rate is already down at 4.6. So Derbyshire have got to be aggressive here, keep trying to take wickets. Easier said than done for Darlow, who's doing her bit in the piece magnificently. She has 1 for 5 off 2, but the question for Adriana Darlow is captain's dilemma. Does she keep herself going, does she now think that she's got to look elsewhere? 30 for 1 after 4.
Yeah, Darlow was by far the one of the stronger bowlers that I faced when I played them. She's pretty much on the money. She's a decent player and made it a little bit more difficult for sure.
Blazing sunshine out now. Great to see that. Looks like many signs of rain, even deep in the distance. So not really set to trouble us here at Headingley. Run rate up at 7.5. Yorkshire will be pretty content with their work so far. And Darlow's just having a chat with her bowler and working out this field. It's going to be a 5-4 with a short third. Oliver on strike has looked very assured for her. 13 off 10 has been very busy so far. It's a nice fluent cover drive. Out for 1 is Caitlin MacDonald, who's on. MacDonald, who was a product of the Lancashire Academy, has been there since under 13 level before joining Derbyshire this season. Plays her cricket for Greenfield CC near Oldham. Ball's looping in swingers. Get some shape with this new ball. Causing Boyce a little bit of trouble there. Georgie Boyce, he said about joining Yorkshire, having played against a few of the girls in the past. I know the squad's full of talent. I'm confident I can add to that and help the team compete in the Blast. Rich Pyro describing her as a very experienced cricketer for someone her age. Lovely shot from Boyce. A classy shot from a classy player. As good a shot, as commanding a shot as we've seen from anybody all game.
Yeah, give me a replay on that. I want to see it. Held her shape so well there. Lovely swing. Came from toe to the sky. Nice, clean swing. Not too much movement from the feet. Just
made it look kind of effortless in the way that batters can do with those straight shots when it all goes well. Amy's too modest to say it alongside me, so I'll say it for her, but shades of Amy herself when in full float. Long on's gone out. That's a full toss, horrid delivery. Boyce all too happy to take advantage. It's almost a 6, but Yorkshire will take 4. Boyce into full flow and all of the pressure now piling on to MacDonald.
Yeah, I love this from Boise. She's done well to just get herself in there at the start and now she can start firing.
That's going to be more runs, 4 of them through extra cover. Boyce is going through the gears here. Fancies her chances in the power play. It only just goes to the rope. That's one of the deeper pockets that we were talking about earlier on with how the boundary out towards the Western Terrace is almost a bit rectangular shaped, but still gets 4 for it even with that.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous drive, that, isn't it?
Suddenly it all looks quite commanding for Yorkshire. This partnership is flying along. Digs that one out, boys. Nice response from MacDonald. Not easy for Caitlin MacDonald when you're a bowler in the power play and you've gone for 3 4s in a row, but pulls it back a little bit with that last ball. So 43 for 1 after 5. That over goes for 13.
Not too bad, not too bad. Good start from the girls.
Yeah, and I guess as well, this is a league fixture. Net run rate could well be handy one day in pursuit of qualification, and it's also just trying to build that ruthlessness as a team that Yorkshire will be wanting to keep that intent going through an innings and chase this without making it too nervy.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do anything stupid here and play what's on the scoreboard. You know, opportunities for batters to be selfish and spend a bit of time in the middle and, you know, play the game well.
Change the bowling. Starts with a filthy full toss, and it's well fielded by Lara Shaw out there. Not the best start from Gemma Rose, and it is a no ball as well. Gemma Rose, who took 4 for 73 off 10 overs in the one-day cup game against Yorkshire.
I wouldn't say that was a no ball. But here's me just being umpire today. I felt like that was below waist.
So it's a free hit.
We'll take it.
Down the ground, and the free hit, salt in the wound stuff, almost a 6 from Boyce. Mere inches away from being a maximum. She'll be all too happy with 4, though. And Georgie Boyce has hit 4 of her last 5 deliveries to the boundary.
That's a stunning shot from Boise.
Square leg's been brought up, and mid-on has gone back to long-on. That's through the covers this time, and this is going to be 4 more, so Boyce's brilliance continues. It's the 50 up for Yorkshire, and at the moment it's the Georgie Boyce show.
Yeah, this is great for her, isn't it? Great for her, great for us. Keep going, Boise. Things you love to see.
She's got more than half the runs in this innings. She has 27 off 15. This time sweeps. Won't get anything for that. 50 up in very good time for Yorkshire. Suddenly, going at almost 10 and over. It's been a rapid rebuild since the loss of Thomas for 9. Boyce this time lofted extra cover drive for 4 more. Well, right now, Gemma Rose is struggling to find an answer. Bowling a leg spinner in a power play was always going to be a risk, and Boyce is making it look very risky indeed.
Yeah, just think when the ball is a little bit loopy like that, it just gives the batter a bit of time to get into shape and hit the ball hard. I think a little bit more pace on the ball would be. There we go. It's a little bit better.
Swept straight at short, fine leg. Good backing up from Oliver to get 1.
So that was a little bit flatter there, that one, wasn't it? And I just think that's a lot more difficult to play than above the eye line.
Derbyshire with 5 losses from 5 across all competitions this season. 4 of those in the 50 over format. 1 in the Women's T20 County Cup against Yorkshire. Yorkshire doing their best to make that 6 from 6 here. Hit hard down the ground. That is going to be 4 more. This time for Oliver, who's looking increasingly impressive on her Yorkshire debut, the 17-year-old.
Yeah, awesome from her. I think we've always knew that Ollie's had it in her bag. She's, been a consistent performer for the academies and the 2s. So, it's just good to see that she's doing it here for the first team. That's what it's all about, isn't it? You take the opportunities, and not every day you get to bat at Headingley with a bit of sunshine and scoring a few runs. Good day out.
It was always going to be a risk for Derbyshire bowling Gemma Rose in that final over the power play. Not just because she's a spinner, but because she tends to like to give it flight.
Yep.
She went for 19. It's fair to say it hasn't worked. And now Yorkshire are in cruise control. You talked a bit about batters being selfish. This is almost the kind of time where Boyce and Oliver look at each other and think, we're going to finish this. We're going to be the 2 out there to take this home.
You still want to be attacking, and you want to, show that intent for future games. It's good practice for future games. You don't want to be going at a run a ball day in T20. You still want to get the practice in, but you don't have to be daft about it. Just knock it about and hit the bad ones.
Pagan Hardwick is on and is being hit hard through mid-wicket. 4 more for Boyce. He's having an excellent debut for Yorkshire. And it's really gone into 5th gear here in the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, she's settling in pretty well. I didn't know if that was a catching opportunity or not. She seems to have been on the floor before the ball even got to her.
Yeah, didn't get hands on it. Was hit pretty hard from Boyce.
The hands were on the deck by the time it got to her.
Yeah. Blowing square drive for 1 off bowling of Pagan Hardwick. Hardwick, who It's Derbyshire's second leading wicket taker when they won the 2024 T20 County Cup last season. Obviously, of course, quite a few competitions restructured this season with all the big changes. That's blocked back by Oliver, who respects what is decent ball by Hardwick, who's nicknamed Mary Berry by her teammates. She is, by all accounts, the star baker of the Derbyshire side.
You need a star baker in the team.
Absolutely. It's an important role. It's all well and good having the club catering, but someone that can specifically cook up a feast is always nice. So that's straight out to
Respect.
extra cover. Plays the club cricket at Whitmore CC.
Yeah, Ria's our star baker.
Ria Thackrell.
Yeah, she brings in
What would you
good
say
banana
is
bread.
banana bread is
Yeah, really good banana bread, yeah.
that's the signature dish as such. It's time. It's straight at point. Just building a few dots here, which be welcome relief for Derbyshire after what's been a period of high run scoring. That power play saw 62 taken off the 6 overs.
A few dots are all right at this rate. Just keep her cool. Should be all good.
It's worked away. We'll run this time. So end of the 8th over. And great credit to Hardwick, who, having gone for a boundary off the first, has pulled that back quite well. She's gone for 6 from it. 68 for 1 off 7, but leading to the point you were making, the required run rate is 2.85. So nothing particularly for Yorkshire to be scared of. Reminder that this is the start of Block of Vitality Women's T20 Blast action. 8 games for Yorkshire, aiming to reach finals day, which is on the 26th of July at Northampton. There's 2 semi-finals in the final. And then in August, Yorkshire women head back to Metrobank One Day Cup League 2 action. Currently 3 wins from 4, 5 games to come in that. And then, as long as Yorkshire finish in the top 4, they'll have a semi-final on the 6th of September, and then potentially a final on the 14th at Worcester. Now the new over starts with nicely timed cut shot from Oliver for 4. She's already done that quite well a couple of times off the spinners. I think it's also the fact that she's got this very open face. Just watch there, you see, the face is almost preset for the cut shot as much as anything else when you've got that open blade.
Yeah.
Just from a technical point of view.
She's hit it well.
Into the 20s on debut. Just going to get one more here. There's been a lot to like about this innings from Amelia Oliver. It's not just that she's 25 not out, but she's looked very assured for it. 25 off 19. Just ran well. There's 4 nice boundaries too. Down the ground from Boyce for none.
Yeah, it's looking promising for the future of Yorkshire women's cricket, because we've had so many good academy players that are, knocking on the door, which is scary for us seniors, but it's, just shows that we're producing good cricketers, which is great.
Half stopped in the covers. Yeah, I was just about to say, there's also that element of positive competition, right? Of pushing from underneath, of youngsters pushing to get their chance to make their mark. We've seen Amelia Love this season again, in another campaign. This is Oliver. Getting one. In another campaign where Jess Woolston's fit, potentially Amelia Love barely plays, but Woolston's out injured, and Love comes in and plays as well as she does, and gives good headaches, to use a way of describing it. That's short, and that's away through backward point for 4. So
Lovely.
The run tap continues to flow here for Yorkshire, who right now are surging towards victory thanks to Boyce and Oliver. 79 for 1 off 8. Require just another 26 more runs to win.
Yeah, it's looking like an early finish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been, as we see those dancing kids again that were up and about earlier, seeming to dance more and more as Yorkshire kept taking more and more wickets.
I can't hear the music, but I'm guessing there's some good tunes on in between. Keep them going. I can see them down there. They're going crazy.
All the fun of the fair. Exactly what you want to see in the sunshine.
Exactly.
For Yorkshire, it's about trying to finish this off with maximum efficiency. And, if you want to be a little bit sentimental, you have to feel the touch for Oliver here, because we'll come back to that. So Oliver is cutting it again. It's been a theme of our innings so far. She'll get 1. And I know it's a bit early to say this, but there's probably not enough runs left in the game for Amelia Oliver to get a debut 50. But otherwise, where Yorkshire to be batting first, she'd look well on course for. But there's definitely enough runs left for Georgie Boyce to get a debut 50.
I think she would take this at the start of the day, Amelia Oliver.
Absolutely. Good question in the chat from JFB. What is the average age of the Yorkshire squad today? It's something that I've been thinking about a little bit because of the relative youth. Boyce is 26, Fackrell's 25, and Duckworth's 24. Everybody else is no older than
18 and below.
Than 22. But I know what you mean, Amy Campbell alongside. There was 6 teenagers in the 12-player squad. Lucy Randall Bissell is the 12th. Amelia Love is 16. Oliver out there batting is 17. Maddie Ward, the captain, is 20.
Not a clue what the average is, but
a lot of youth around.
Yeah.
So that's Shaw. LBW appeals. Has it kept low? It has kept low. Well, that's unlucky for Boyce, who looked very good for her 42, but has to go now. He's out. LBW on debut, out 8 short of a 50.
I'm not sure of this end of the wicket. Is it Kirkswell end? Kirkswell?
Pavilion end.
Pavilion end, yes. It's not bouncing as much as the other end.
Yeah.
As you can see, when Gartz was bowling from this end, it was getting a little bit of bounce, but that's just absolutely died there on that bottom end.
Yeah, went back to pull it and got hit just around that sort of length that gave the chance for the umpire to have a decision to make. So out steps Maddie Ward to confirm again. Boyce gone for a very well made 42 off 24 balls with 9 fours. So you take that on debut every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And she has to go there. LBW to Francesca Clark. 24 runs needed from 69. And Maddie Ward, Yorkshire's youngest ever captain in a senior competitive men's or women's match, is out to bat in the kind of scenario, well, she couldn't have dreamed of much better a scenario to walk out in truth. 24 to win off 69 with the sun out and 8 wickets in hand. Ward is off the mark straight away. He slightly struggled for runs at the start of the season, but has burst into life more recently. Made 41 off 74 in a 50-over game against Leicestershire at York, and made an excellent 43 off 30 against Essex here in round 3 of the Cup, and made a runnable 21 in the quarter-final against Warwickshire.
Yeah, she's grown in confidence every game, and she's such a skilled player. But I think it's a confidence thing, though, isn't it? When you're a little bit younger, the confidence sometimes just isn't quite there. But every game that she's playing and scoring a few more runs, I think that 40 odd against Essex was probably the making of her, and actually proving to herself that she is a top-notch player with a lot of skill.
That's a shot that sounded very nice off the bat. Big chase for long off coming around. Gives it to 2. So Ward is on to 3. Yeah, it's interesting. You do forget how end of the 9th over 85 for 2. So a wicket off that one for Francesca Clark. You do forget with someone like Ward, this is just her 10th senior women's appearance. She's been an ever-present for Yorkshire this season, but before that, the only game that she had played was her senior regional debut, August last year for the Diamonds, a 50-over game against the Sunrisers at Chelmsford. She kept well and made 20. and then has picked up a 2-year contract as a rookie professional at Yorkshire. And unexpected talent of her spin bowling was also discovered. Darlow's brought herself back, understandable given the circumstances.
Yeah, I think when you're given a rookie contract, you're not really expecting to be captain in any games.
Fair. She pretty much said sort of a version to that of me today when I asked her what a little younger Maddie Ward would have thought of a day like this. As that's guided away, that's going to be just about kept in place. Some football skills out there.
Do what you've got to do. Do you know what I mean? I think when it's been raining as well, as I said, on the boundary, Aaron was saying it's quite slippy out there at the minute. So yeah, she's got that away nicely.
And then just here, the big old trusty left boot.
And a clap from the coach, so he's all right with it. No team fines in the changing room.
Gianna Darlow will be pleased that her figures were saved. Derbyshire's captain's got 4 balls left. She's bowled really well, 1 for 18. Quicker and flatter. And Oliver will get 1. You do sense that we're going to be seeing a fair bit more of maybe Oliver with bat in hand for Yorkshire this season.
Yeah, it all depends on injuries, doesn't it? I think our team is our team when we're all fitting well is a very, very strong team, and there's a lot of people fighting for places in it at the minute, which is great. But
certainly no harm.
But we'll see. You never know.
Sticking your hand up when you got the chance, and Oliver's definitely doing that here. Ward just works that away for 1. Just 17 more to win for Yorkshire. Reminder for those of you who maybe are unfamiliar, next in action, Yorkshire women next Sunday, double header against Leicestershire here at Headingley. Women in the morning and men in the afternoon. Women an 11 a.m. start, men at 3 p.m. Both of them will be streamed as part of our Vertu live stream. Thank you to Vertu, enabling us to bring you enhanced live stream for all women and men's home games this season, free of charge wherever you are in the world. Just nibbled away, straight to square leg. A couple of people joking in the YouTube live chat about that piece of fielding. Wonder if Serena Wiegman's watching. They're in the squad for the Euros. Of course, Mary Earps has retired, but do still have Hannah Hampton in net, and plenty with the likes of Stanway, Williamson and Bronze who can do that job more than adequately. As Yorkshire, as England look to defend their crown from iconic 2022 summer. Meanwhile, as for this contest, Yorkshire in cruise control. Yorkshire 90 for 2 at this stage. Derbyshire 55 for 4. And I think what we'll look back on as the key passage of play is when Derbyshire collapsed from none for 47 in the 7th over to 5 for 58 at just gone halfway. 5 for 11 in 4 overs or so in that period of things. So this will be more runs by Oliver through the offside. Good scampering means they'll get comfortable too, and you have to look back to the contribution of Rhea Thackrell as being pivotal in that. 4 for 12, best bowling figures by a Yorkshire women's player so far this season.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see her in the changing room at half time, but I'll be giving her a hug at the end.
That's a wide, just 12 to win. Yeah, and it means a lot, particularly, doesn't it, when you haven't played in a little while. Her last appearance was the game against Derbyshire in the Cup, which was on the 3rd of May. She got 2 for 5 on the 5th of May, in fact, at Harrogate, Monday the 5th of May. So she's gone almost a month without playing for Yorkshire. A lot of time where she's been 12ing or running drinks, and has come back into the team and given the management something of a selection dilemma for future games, potentially, by the excellency of her performance.
Yeah, I think that's where your training comes in. It's really important, isn't it? And just keeping yourself fresh to play throughout the week. You could
blocked back by Ward.
You could quite easily just, cruise it when you're sitting on the bench and just be like, oh, well, kind of what's the point sort of thing. But it's up to you to keep your own standards, and push yourself in training, and create training pressure as well, which will keep you in form for games.
Won't get anything that time. Clark has bowled well here. He's bowled 10 balls, has gone for 10, and has picked up wicket as well. Francesca Clark, who goes to Loughborough Uni and had a side strain in the early part of the season. Has been a valuable addition to this Derbyshire seam attack since she's come back. It's a little short off the bottom edge. Another dot. Just one ball left of the over. Ward re-rehearsing the stroke that she wished she had played.
Yeah, that's 51.
Yeah, it tells its own story. Ward and Oliver will both want to walk off here with the satisfaction of having completed the chase. It's the end of the over. Nice over from Francesca Clark, who took the second wicket and then has conceded just 4 from that one. So 1 for 10 from Vertu. There is the Yorkshire dugout, looking as relaxed a dugout as you could wish to see, which is what you'd expect given the scoreboard situation.
Rebecca Duckworth will be full of energy because this morning she said, Amy, today I'm going to absolutely send it. And I was like, go on, make sure you do. And obviously she might not get a bat now, so she'll be...
Yeah, she might be in that unfortunate camp, the 3 letters you'll be broadly familiar with of the TFC.
She's going to have to hold out for next week, I think.
Nice looking shot down the ground from Oliver. For those unfamiliar, TFC, a bit of a colloquial village club cricket phrase, thanks for coming, essentially referring to if you haven't had a chance to bat or bowl. There's some future celebration rehearsals starting down there.
I think it was a dab, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We'll be seeing more where that came from Jess Wilson, who pulled out. We calling that the chainsaw? I'd call it the chainsaw up in the box.
I've got no idea. I haven't actually. I think today would have been my first game playing with Wooly, because obviously she's been injured, hasn't she?
Straight at cover, parking, getting through the dots.
I've never seen that celebration before. Probably a lawnmower though, rather than a chainsaw. Yeah. She's not that hard.
This Ward has got herself a bit of a tangle playing one of her favourite funky reverse sweeps. All eyes on the umpire, who clearly feels like it got a little bit of bat in there somewhere, because Ward gets a run. Just 9 more to win. Smashed away, up to long on. 8 more required. Oliver has 37. Reminder in terms of how the next week or so looks for things Yorkshire cricket. Men's team away at Edgbaston on Friday night, Friday the 6th of June, then a double header here. Both teams in action against Leicestershire. Sunday the 8th. After that, the men are away at Nottinghamshire on the 11th and at home here against the Birmingham Bears on the 13th. It's a little while to wait until the women are next in action after that double header on the 8th, because it's on the 21st away at Derbyshire. The 4th time Yorkshire will have played Derbyshire this season because of the way fixtures worked out, being drawn against them in the T20 Women's County Cup, playing them twice in this competition, the T20 Blast, and then once in the Metrobank 50 over One Day Cup as well. 8 to win. That will be one of them for Oliver. 97 for 2 off 12 before that ball. So Yorkshire well on track to have a nice boost to the net run rate here, which is always handy at the start of a T20 league format competition.
Yeah, it definitely does help towards the end. In case things get tight, and can swing in your favour.
Just 6 more required.
I think that's why, even though it could potentially be an easy finish, but we want to keep the intent going. We still want to play as we planned, be brave, bold, and play strong shots. So
credit to Derbyshire, they have just delayed the inevitable just a little bit here. Only 18 runs have come off the last 4 overs before this one, and the stumps have helped to reduce the run scoring here. Oliver with 2 straight of a straight drive, just a yard either side. She might well have got 4 because she really timed that well.
Yeah, it's a good job she didn't touch it, to be honest. I think it would have been out. Cheeky little finger to that, and
yeah, it would have been an unfortunate end for Maddie Ward, who might well have the chance to hit the winning runs on her captaincy debut here. Ward is going to get 4, so the scores are tied. And Maddie Ward will have the chance as a 20-year-old, Yorkshire's youngest captain in a senior competitive match, men's or women's, to finish things off now.
I love that from her. Just set herself back there and create a little bit of room.
So 1 to win for Yorkshire. Derbyshire Falcons realising getting everybody up. Ward, the 20-year-old, on her captaincy debut can finish things off. And instead, somewhat anticlimactically, in the way that cricket can do sometimes, it goes away for 5 wides. But Maddie Ward will care not how it happens, just the fact that it's done. Yorkshire win comfortably in the end in their Vitality Women's T20 Blast debut, with a side featuring a very young team led by a very young captain. They have ultimately come up trumps by quite a comfortable distance here. It is Yorkshire who are your winners by 8 wickets with 43 balls to spare. A very composed 39 not out on debut from Amelia Oliver. Maddie Ward there at the end, unbeaten on 10 to finish it off with her. It is the perfect start in the Headingley sunshine for the White Rose to their Vitality Blast Women's League 2 campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would have taken this the start of the day when I came into the box and it was raining. No, I feel like for it being such a young team there, they've really held their cool, and they've played proper cricket, and they've stuck to their plans, and that's the way we want to go about our stuff, and they've made quite a statement there, and I'm really, really proud of the girls there.
And a lot of confidence to take into Leicestershire at home next weekend, when hopefully there's a few more players back as well, which provides a bit of a competition for selection, like yourself back from that back problem, Olivia Thomas potentially back into the fold as well, and a lot of encouraging signs here today. Ward, the 20-year-old, a composed captain who finished things off nicely, and Holly Garton on debut, none for 12 off 4. Amelia Oliver on debut, 39 not out. Georgie Boyce, of course, much more experienced, on loan from Blaze, 42 on debut. And Ria Fackrell, possibly the player of the match, with 4 for 12. Yorkshire's best figures by a women's player so far this season.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the girls have had for breakfast today, but, all the ones that were kind of under pressure today have really, really performed, and they were outstanding performances as well, and it just shows that we're creating really, really good players here who can, handle the heat under a little bit of pressure and perform when they're given the opportunity. But yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing for the girls, and some individual performance there, and I'm loving the fact that Wooly got a wicket today, and I've seen her work so hard to get to this point, and she bowled brilliantly today. But yeah, standout player for me was obviously Ria. To come back from sitting on the bench for a couple of weeks and get yourself a 4 for at Headingley. Yeah, she's done really, really well there, and under a bit of pressure, and to prove herself. So yeah, it is going to be an interesting selection for next weekend. But this goes to show that we go quite deep into our squads. And yeah, there's not too much pressure on the senior players to be fit all year round, because obviously, as you can see there, we can put in some performances with the younger ones as well, and they're an absolutely awesome group, and I'm buzzing for them today. Then they'll be in the changing room screaming on now. Have to go and see them.
Amy Campbell is is heading off shortly. Thank you very much for your company today. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much for your company wherever you've been across the world watching. And remember, you can get down here to Headingley for the double header next Sunday, the 8th of June. The women are on at 11 a.m. against Leicestershire, and the men face the same opponents at 3 p.m. But before we let you go, we've also got highlights of the second innings of this game that we'll leave you with, and also a quick glance through the scorecard of the second innings run chase. Georgie Boyce with 42 of 25, LBW bowled by Clark. Erin Thomas made 9 of 6, caught Shaw, bowled Darlow. Amelia Oliver, 39 of 32, unbeaten. Maddie Ward, 10 of 14, also got her red inker. Bowling figures, none for 25 of 2 for Nolan Davies. Adriana Darlow, the pick, arguably 1 for 21 off her 4. McDonald 1 over for 13. Rose 1 over for 19. An expensive gamble in the power play. Hardwick tidy her 1 over going for 6. Clark bowled well, 1 for 18 off her 2.4. And Parkins only over, went for just 3. But we'll leave you in the meantime with the highlights from the run chase. Do enjoy them, and we'll see you in a week's time for that double header here at Headingley. That will be our next Vertu live stream. Both teams in action against Worcestershire. But thank you to you in the meantime for watching. We'll leave you for the rest of the best bits of this game with the action. Yorkshire your winners today here by 8 wickets with 44 balls to spare.